And but we need over 1 billion views
Let's
easily.
jump in.
Let's get this.
We are here with Bek Lover. As you guys requested, one special person definitely requested, and he put this thing together himself. He tagged you, he tagged me, we connected, and that was it. And then I messaged him. I said, "Good job." He's like, he was pumped about it, So we have him here today. Been on the Danny Jones podcast, Julian Dory, which I
Multiple
didn't have.
times.
Yeah, I
Multiple times, yeah.
didn't realize that.
Very proud of Julian Dory also, man. He just crossed the 1 million threshold. I was on his show when he only had 40,000 followers. So to all of you, to all of you that are out there that are new podcasters or new people that are like, or you're already popular and you're like, why should I go on a podcast that doesn't have that many followers? Because you don't know where they're going to be. Give people love and love comes back. I'm so happy I went on these shows. Now there's some of the biggest shows in the world.
Exactly.
Never underestimate anybody. Nothing's
Exactly.
a waste of time when you have good intentions, my brother, Coach Colin. And I could tell you're someone that has good intentions, man. I looked you up real quick once they told me, you might have me on your show. I saw a lot of your work. I could tell just by your aura, I've never met you in the physical world, but
Yeah.
I feel like you could see a lot from someone's face and their eyes and the way they talk. And, there's some great people that are con artists, but I'm talking about generally your instincts are not wrong. And I believe that comes from the spiritual. I think instincts ties into the spiritual world,
Yeah. Oh, 100%, 100%. And yeah, thank you for that. I mean, I felt the same way about you because I didn't know about you before that person said in the comment section, they're like, "Hey, you got to have this guy on your podcast." And then when I looked you up, I was like, for me, you remind me of someone, actually one of my best friends. We've been friends for like 31 years or something like that. We've been
He
friends.
must be a handsome dude, bro. He must be jiggy.
You guys got the same type of beard. Funny enough,
he's got to be fly. Like, he must be like one of the best looking dudes out there, bro.
Yeah, a good guy, man. Wild guy too. I got to get him on the podcast. He's a funny guy. Iraqi Israeli, actually. He's an interesting dude.
He's conflicted.
Yeah. His family.
One half of his side wants to kill the other side, and vice versa.
Like he's just like it's wild. But he's just like an all round most genuine guy you've ever met in your life. Amazing guy. So you reminded me of him right away. I was like, oh, I've grown up around guys like this before. So it made sense to do this whole thing. And then I saw some of the stuff you were talking about, and I was like, oh, this is why this person thinks that we should talk, because we're definitely aligned on a lot of different things. I only came into this thinking, connecting everything that I know since I came to faith in Christianity, because then that linked me to the Bible. Then all of a sudden it made sense why people are doing things in the occult. Then it made sense why the tech industry is the way it is. It all started to connect as soon as I stepped into faith. So
it's a big mosaic, and a lot of people can see individual. There's some people that can't see any part of the mosaic, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people that have 80% of it. They can see the big picture, but there's very few, in my opinion. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm God and I'm the best. And no, I'm just saying, but there's very few that can actually see the entire mosaic.
Yeah.
And I think what we're about to talk about today is a way to wake people up to what's really been going on since the inception of humanity, really, since Adam and Eve, number one. Number two, I want to clean the air because a lot of times my content's taken out of context also.
Yeah.
Where it might look like I'm picking on Christians or I'm whatever. So I want to clean the air about that too, because it's very easy. Listen, you're a podcaster, right?
Yeah.
You interview people. Your average pod is 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
And people do this with scripture too, right? They can take one line and preach an entire sermon about that one line. And meanwhile, if you put the one line into the context, it's the complete opposite of what even the preacher was saying or the imam or whoever. So we live in a time where people are consuming content 10 to 20 seconds at a time. That's the majority, right? 10 to 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And then they are assuming very quickly opinions about anything like life, politics, faith, who someone really is. And the culture that I come from, I was born in America. I was born in Texas. Okay. Grew up in New York City my entire life, the New York City metropolitan area. And, the Albanians have an expression: you don't know someone until you've ate an entire case of salt with them. I'm translating it roughly. So until me and you have gone through an entire bag of salt, we don't really know each other. Because think about it, we put a couple of sprinkles a meal, right? So it takes that long to really know someone. And first opinions, in my opinion, yeah, first impressions are important, but they're not always reality or accurate. You could have met me in my worst time. You could have met me in the middle of a divorce or someone passed away. So I think judging people too quickly makes you miss out on a lot of great relationships. Most people that meet me at first can't stand me, Coach Colin. They think I'm arrogant. They think they think, and they don't know that I'm just very outgoing, very extroverted. And then when you get to spend some time with me, you're like, well, this guy, I didn't like him at first, but as I got to know him, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Oh, what did I just do? He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. At least I know where I stand with him. No, I like this person because all they do is smile in my face. They're so nice. Meanwhile, knife.
Nah.
I'd rather be with the person who's going to tell me where I stand, how they really feel. This is what I really think about you. Those are the people I respect, because as hard as it is to hear that, that's who I'd rather be around. Because you know what? Either A, I can say, hey, I understand why you think like that. Maybe, we can find that bridge, but sitting there and smiling, and it's like that corporate environment.
Yeah.
I learned a very hard lesson working in the corporate world, right? It's why I walked away from it, Coach.
Did you?
That you could do everything right, get to the top of the pyramid, and realize it was never about how hard you work or how ethical you are. It was actually the opposite. I walked away from a very lucrative career in 2017 because I was working for people with no morals, none, zero, no ethics, no honor, none. And after working as hard as I did and making it to the top of that organization, multi-trillion-dollar corporation, I learned a very hard lesson in life. It don't matter how honest you are or how ethical you are in this world, in the material world. In the spiritual world, it's everything, right? So I just want to clear the air a little bit. I know a lot of your viewers may have seen me scrolling left and right on there, but I'm all over it. But we had 12 million views last week just on a couple of handles. Like, I know my content's everywhere. I would have never imagined it would have gone as far as it did. I never went into content creation to ever talk about religion, ever.
Me too.
I started podcasting to do kind of what you've done, which is to interview fascinating people about their lives, mostly about stories of adversity, on why you should never give up, why you should never surrender when horrible things happen to you, because I've had my fair share of tragedies in life. And I realized going through some of these dark times, why so many people give up and actually take their own. And once I got through some of these storms, I was like, I want to use my pain now as motivation to prevent other people from giving up. And that's how I started as a podcaster. It was never to talk about Muslim this and Christian that and Jewish this. It was like the one topic I wanted to avoid because I knew how explosive it was. I knew it would stir animosity. I knew people would hate me. And, because anytime you challenge anyone's belief, they automatically hate you. They automatically want to throw a stone at you. They don't want to look in the mirror. Yeah. And a lot of times my clips, when speaking about Christianity, are taken out of context. It's usually a pushback. And I'll give you an example, and then please, I want you to take over this interview. But I just want to clear the air to your audience that may have seen me, because I know very religious Christians have seen my work.
Well, the thing is, like, one thing I'll say is, like, when you want to talk about stuff like that, everything you said, adversity, this, that, eventually you're going to come across faith, especially if you're talking to a bunch of people. Eventually someone's going to bring up faith, and that's what got them through. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable, man. Especially in this world, you want to talk about things, you're going to be talking about a lot of darkness. And the more you talk about darkness, you have to bring up the light. The more you talk about the light, you have to bring up the dark. It's connected. You have to, I'm exactly like you. I did not want to bring up being Christian or anything like that, but it's unavoidable in these topics, completely unavoidable, so.
It's like, one of the people I look up to, his name's Hamza Yusuf. He's a revert to the religion of Islam. He started the first Muslim university that's accredited in the United States of America. He's Greek. Orthodox in origin. You know, he became a Muslim after a near-death experience.
Hmm.
And what's crazy, he's actually somehow now in the White House, second time in the White House. First time was under Bush, trying to prevent him from going into Iraq, which I wish he would have listened. And two, somehow Trump connected with him. I don't know what's going on with him now, but a lot of his lectures earlier on were very inspiring. And I love a lot of what he preaches about.
Yeah.
But one quote of his always stuck with me. It's through despair that enlightenment comes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they're struggling, coach, they're going through a rough time, they think, well, God doesn't love me. Why am I struggling? Why am I poor? You know, I believe it's the opposite of what a lot of other type of preachers preach about, wealth and all this stuff. I don't think that's how God operates, in my opinion. I don't think he's punishing poor people. I don't think he's punishing people because they're going through these hard things. I think it's through despair. You have nowhere to look but to the creator. There's no one else going to get you out of it. It doesn't matter how many people you've met in your life don't even work that hard. They made millions of dollars. You know, people that slave away and they're geniuses. They're geniuses, coach. I know people that are brilliant.
Yeah.
But the doors don't open for them. Because I believe no matter how hard you work, unless that creator opens the door for you, nothing's going to happen. I don't care who you are. And then when you look at prophets that we share in common, like Joseph, one of my favorite, peace be upon him, what a beautiful human being. How can you as a Christian or as a Muslim look at the life of Joseph, the prophet, thrown down a well by his own brothers, his own blood, sold into slavery, accused of a crime he never did with the master's wife, thrown into prison with the lowest of the low of society, never once blamed God, never once said, why did you do this to me? Never once said, why did you do this to me? Never once lost his faith.
Yeah.
And what does God do? Takes him from the bottom of the prison and puts him at the top of the structure, bro. Number two after the king of Egypt, because that was a miracle, by the way. He wasn't called Pharaoh during the time of Joseph. He was called the king of Egypt. And they've just proven that there was one brief period in Egyptian history that there was one time that the leader wasn't called Pharaoh. He was called king. Very interesting, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is with that type of story, if you believe in the Bible and if you believe in the Quran or whatever your scripture is, what did Joseph do to be deserved to be thrown? Yo, by your own brothers. There's a lesson there. Even your own could do you dirty. Even jealousy can corrupt those closest to you. Same thing happened with Cain and Abel, right?
Yeah.
There's lessons there, brother. There's stories there, right? That even if you don't believe it's real, as an atheist, you still learn something from these stories. I don't care who you are. You learn something from these stories.
It's crazy you bring up Joseph. My wife and I we have devotionals. I don't know if Islam has anything like this, but there's these books. So you have the Bible, but then you also have these devotionals, and it'll kind of guide you through certain scripture. So it'll bring up scripture, and then it will talk about, how it applies to your everyday life.
Or the deeper understanding of the verse.
Yeah, exactly. And
in Islam, that's known as tafsir.
Okay.
Tafsir is like they'll take a verse of the Quran, put it into context, because most people really don't understand it in context.
Yeah.
And then give you, this is why this verse came down, this is when it came down, and this is actually what it means in many different understandings of how it can be applied.
Yeah, they tie it to like today. So we were just listening to that story about we were just reading about that story about Joseph. Just like I don't know, maybe 2 days ago.
Do you know why he's also very important? Besides teaching us that it's not about always what you earned or what you deserved or like horrible things can happen. The guy did nothing wrong. He's the son of Jacob, peace be upon him, one of the most powerful prophets ever. Thrown down a well, right? All these horrible things happened to him. Never did nothing wrong. Lily did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Right? What's one of the most important lessons that we learn also about his power? What was his power? Do you know? Do you remember?
No. What was his power?
It ties into kind of what we're going to talk about today a little bit. We believe that every prophet and messenger was given a gift. Okay? For example, Moses had the rod, peace be upon him. Moses had the power of God, and the rod was one of his gifts, right? What he was able to do with it, right? He threw it down in front of Pharaoh. which ties into what we want to talk about later, demons and black magic, right? Because that's a clear story in all of our traditions about the existence of black magic, sorcery, how it ties to Pharaoh, how some of my theories are that maybe these pyramids were either A, built by the demonic realm, or through the knowledge of black magic, which then later ties into who? Aleister Crowley, right? So these things are, very interesting when you break them down. So every prophet had a power. Joseph, peace be upon him, he had the power to interpret dreams. That was his gift. And he was also said to have been one of the most handsome human beings to ever live. That's why his master's wife, when he was sold into slavery, his master's wife tried to seduce him. And he's a man of God, and he loved his master because he was treated very well. So even though he was sold into slavery, it wasn't like what we think of when we think of like what happened in,
Of
America,
course.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
When we think of the movie 12 Years a Slave, when you see that scene, it's like, if you can watch that scene and not be horrified, then there's something wrong with your heart, period. Right? And that scene is one of the most graphic scenes I've ever seen in a film, but it was so important to the film because it puts you into that world of America wasn't fair to a lot of people in the beginning, and seeing the suffering, and that's just a very powerful movie, period. So Joseph wasn't in that situation, thank God. His master loved him. He was basically a house servant is what he was. He wasn't being brutally beaten and any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So even though he was sold into slavery, God kind of had his back. Like, he put him somewhere safe, and he was treated really well and clothed well and ate and educated and all that stuff. But he got seduced, tried to get seduced by the master's wife. And he broke away from her. She ripped the back of his clothes. Master comes in at the same time. What's going on here? He tried to do this to me. His wife. He says, that would be true. He goes, if my clothes were ripped from the front, I was trying to get away from her. She was trying to seduce me. That's why my clothes are ripped from the back, sir. Undeniable evidence. Your clothes ain't going to be ripped if it's going to be ripped from the front. He's trying to get away from her, but he knew it, but still, just for his own face. That's why he got sold, sent to jail for his own face, because he's a man of stature. He was embarrassed. He had to send him to jail. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
How he gets out of jail is because he had the power to interpret dreams. That was his gift. Jesus, peace be upon him, one of the most important persons ever to exist on earth, the anointed one, the Messiah, the chosen one. His gift was to bring people back from the dead. He walked on water. We know his miracles, right?
Of course, yeah.
So Joseph, his gift was to interpret dreams. What happened while he's in jail? One of the people that was in prison has a bad dream. And he tells him, hey, I had this nightmare or whatever it was. He's like, I'll tell you what it is. And he interpreted the dream for him, and it came true. The people that he's sharing jail with, the lowest of society, murderers and all this stuff, one of them gets released and ends up working for the king, aka Pharaoh of all of Egypt. The king wakes up one night and he's like, man, I just had the craziest dream. And he's like, bring me all of my scholars. And none of them could really interpret the dream. And none of them would attempt to. Him listening to this, because now he's a servant in the royal palace. So he goes from being in jail to being the servant. He's like, I know of one that can tell you your dream. He's like, where is he? He's in prison. So here's Joseph, peace be upon him, in the bottom of society. Now he's standing in front of the king of all of Egypt. What was your dream? The king tells him the dream. He goes, I know what is wrong. He's like, what? For 3 years, Egypt will have the greatest crops ever. They're going to have a surplus of production. And then after 3 years, it'll be 3 years of the worst famine ever. So the king goes, what do? I don't know what to do. Like, how do I protect my kingdom? I know what to do. Put me in power. Boom. He goes from being in prison to like the second most powerful person in the entire kingdom. So that was his miracle. We learned that dreams are not what we think they are, Coach Colin. And there's 3 types of dreams. There's the ones like tonight I go to bed and I see you in my dream and we're doing a podcast, the fragments of our everyday life. Those are the most common dreams. You get in a fight with your boss, you go home, and you have a dream about you strangling your boss because you had a bad day at work.
Yes.
The second type of dream come from the demonic realm. They come from Satan and his army,
Yeah.
Shaitan. Those are the dreams that startle you. That when you wake up, you're like, oh, like you see a nightmare. You understand? And there's no
Yeah.
logic to them. There's no logic to the dream, but it just puts you, it's terrifying. And usually you can't remember the dream when you wake up. You can remember bits and pieces. I was running, I was being chased, I went up the stairs. Those illogical dreams come from the demonic realm. They attack you in your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And they attack you when you're polluted, when you have alcohol in your system, drugs in your system. You go to sleep in a state of spiritual impurity, meaning you've had a physical act, whether it was or sleeping with, even your wife, you must purify before you go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You must literally cleanse yourself with water. Take a shower after every physical act because now you are open to spiritual attack. People call it sleep paralysis. There is such a thing as sleep paralysis, but there's also such a thing as demonic attack. And the
I
way
think they're one and the same, honestly.
well, there could be a medical condition of you're like in between sleep and waking up and you're stuck and you can't move. But then there's the one that's undeniable. The one repeating occurrence that seems to happen every single time people have quote unquote sleep paralysis, which is they feel a shadowy figure. It's almost cloaked. It kind of looks like the ghosts in the movie Ghost, the demons that come to take out the bad people when Patrick Swayze's trying to get revenge, right? That's kind of how
for the younger people, you'd have to go check that movie out. The younger people might not know about that movie.
Yeah.
But they're very shadowy, like staticky figures.
I don't know if you've ever experienced the phenomenon, Coach.
Oh, I have. It was terrible. It was terrible, actually. It was the one time I experienced it. Here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I was playing around with a lot of new age stuff, a lot of psychedelics, a lot. So I was very open there. A lot of meditation, focusing on chakras, all this new age type of stuff. Doing a lot of meditation in front of an altar, in front of a Buddha with flames and staring into flames and having the elements around and meditating for long periods of time and all sorts of stuff that I didn't really understand. Yeah, I didn't grow up with any religion. My mom had no religion. My dad was very religious, but he wasn't around. He's Cuban Jamaican, so they're super, super religious people. But I had nothing. So I was just clinging to whatever, learn about Buddhism, learn about Hinduism, like things of that nature. And I'm opening myself up way too much, very depressed at this point in my life because I don't know what's going on. I haven't found any of this stuff that I do now, working in these dead end jobs. So, I pretty much hate life, like I could solidly say I hated life. So I was just trying to cling to something, and then when it happened, it was a weird thing. And smoking weed constantly. This is before I got sober. I got sober like 3 years ago now. Actually, no, it's going to be 3 years in a month, actually. It's perfect. So yeah, I was just really open, sleeping. And then all of a sudden this buzzing, it was like a headache, huge, strong, crazy headache, buzzing. And it felt like something was pushing on my head. It felt like something was on me and it was pushing on my head, almost like it was pushing so hard, like it was trying to get into my head. And I was fighting it. And that was causing the buzzing. Like I was like fighting it in some way. Then if this makes sense to you, I'll just say my spirit. I'll say my soul. People call it like the astral body. It gets up and rolls out of the bed because I'm like, I got to get out of the bed. But then I look, I'm still in the bed. And this thing, and I think people call it the old hag, but it's like all black, slick black hair, definitely female, slick back hair. And it kind of looks to me, but it has no real face, no real like distinct features or anything like that. But I can tell it looks at me. I'm on the ground in this astral body soul state, and I'm trying to crawl away. And then I kind of just freeze, and then I'm back in my body, laying there, and then I get up and I'm sweating, just drenched in sweat. It was crazy. And that was it. And I turned on the lights and took a shower, all that stuff you're talking about. But that was the craziest, most feeling demonic experience I've ever had, ever, ever. And like I couldn't sleep with the lights off for like 3 weeks. I was solidly scared. So like very, very scared of that at that moment. And yeah, that was the only thing that I had. And luckily my sister, she is, we didn't grow up together. So we're siblings through my dad. She's very new aged. She's like into Wicca, like witchcraft and stuff. Like she knows all about this stuff. So when she heard what I was doing, she's like, she didn't say it like it was a bad thing. She's like, "Oh, you're doing like pagan ritual stuff." And I'm like, "Am I?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what it seems like to me." She's like, "You got the elements, you're staring into flames, you're doing the meditation, you're offering these things up to something." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I got rid of all that stuff, the altar, got rid of all the crystals, got rid of all that stuff. I had a crystal grid set up, didn't really understand what the hell that was, So I was opening myself up and calling things in, and I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. So I completely just shut all that off and just tried to get my life in order from then on out.
It's a very, very spiritual world out there. And you can't be a Christian or a Muslim and not believe in the demonic realm.
Yeah.
Okay? It's real. Satan is real. Angels are real. Okay? So some of us have experienced this phenomenon. Some people say, "Oh, it's just in your mind, it's your imagination." Um, yeah. So sleep paralysis to me is definitely one of the ways a lot of people have experienced the demonic realm and not even realized it. They
Yes.
just think it's some reoccurring nightmare because it's always the same. Like not always the same, but very similar, and everyone's stories are the same.
Hey, that's what I was gonna say. When I do episodes on sleep paralysis, the comment section is nuts with
A
people.
shadowy figure. Do they all say the shadowy figure?
Shadowy figure. They talk about there's things like the Hat Man. It's like a guy with a hat. There's the old hag, like what I experienced. So many people talk about this, having it for years. A lot of people, who are of the Christian faith, or at least became Christian after these experiences, they talk about how calling on the name of Jesus made it stop and things of that nature. There's so many people and it's
So
all the same story, of
sleeping
how.
on your back, by the way, just for people that don't know, sleeping on your back is one of the easiest ways for them to play with you because they'll literally sit right on your chest.
Yeah.
It's very good to sleep on the right side if possible or left, but do not sleep on your back. Also, sleeping on your stomach is no good. That's the way the devil sleeps, on his stomach. So, at least from the Islamic perspective, just some tips.
I didn't know that. I
Definitely
did
don't
not know.
sleep on your back. They'll literally sit right on your chest
Yeah,
while you
yeah.
sleep. So, as I was mentioning earlier, there's three types of dreams. So the second type are the ones that come from the demonic realm. And what they do is you got to remember something. From the minute you are born, you are assigned angels and demons. And the
Mm.
devil commands armies. He's got armies that are broken into categories. And again, this is for your audience from the Muslim perspective. There is some overlap. And the devil, Satan, may be far from all of us, even though he's pretty much running the world as we see it right now, because so many powerful people are aligned with that dimension.
Yeah, definitely.
When they say, oh, aliens, you can't be a Christian and you can't be a Jew and you can't be a Muslim and not realize that we're the aliens. We're the ones that were cast down from the heavens. We're the ones who fell from grace when our father, Adam, first human being, ate the fruit that he wasn't supposed to eat, and we were cast down. But there was another species on this earth long before us. And from the Muslim perspective, there was even another species before that species, but we don't know anything about them. So what's kind of interesting and fascinating from the Muslim perspective, it seems to be like the earth is some type of petri dish that the creator seems to be using to test his different creations. And it's a really fascinating perspective and a very complicated subject. And I always tell the audience this, and I don't care whether you're listening to a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, a Hindu, an atheist, Coach Colin, Bek, the passing of knowledge or information is a responsibility on the one passing the message and the one receiving the message. You should always verify where you're getting your knowledge from, who that person is, what's their bias. You have
Yeah.
to consuming, that's what's so dangerous about the content world. People are consuming things and making it reality in seconds, making judgments about whole populations, whole races. That's what's so dangerous. The good part is that information can travel quickly, but the bad part is a lot of that information can be detrimental to humanity. And we're seeing the impact that it's having. It can overthrow countries in seconds too, right? It can topple nations. So information is the most powerful weapon. The third type of dream, my brother, coach, and we learned this from Joseph, is that those are the ones that come from the creator. And the closer you are to God and the more obedience you are to God, your dreams start to come true. Dreams are two things from the creator, either A, direct message, or B, a warning, or a glimpse of the future. Some people would call it deja vu, where you actually will see a future event before it happens. So the closer you are to God, your dreams start to come true. I've had warnings before someone dies. I had a direct message where in my dream I say the words that a Muslim says when someone dies, what you're supposed to say. Like if you said, hey, like you came to me, like you're my boy, Coach Colin, and you go, hey man, I just heard such and such passed. Let's say it's someone we both knew. Mm-hmm. So from the Muslim perspective, the first response you're supposed to say is what comes from, a verse in the book. The response is, hey, such and such person passed away. You're supposed to say, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi wa rajayun. And in the Arabic translation, that means from God we come and to God is our return, because nothing's permanent in this dimension, material, right? Even our bodies are not. Our souls are eternal. It's made from a different type of thing. Physically. Nothing in the material is permanent, so nothing's really yours. And that's why, like, I always say to anybody, every religion will teach you to be a good person. I believe the divine messages in all faiths, but I believe humanity changed these messages and went astray. So, 3 types of dreams. The ones that are just fragments of your everyday life. 2, the ones that startle you. Never tell your nightmares to anybody. That's what the demonic realm wants you to do. And if they see it bothers you, guess what? They keep attacking you. Yeah. So when you have a nightmare, don't say, hey, honey, I had the crazy. No, you're supposed to keep that between you because, and again, this is from the Muslim school of thought. These beings follow us, brother.
Yes, definitely.
They have a longer lifespan than we do. They have different powers that God gave them that he didn't give us. And we have powers over them that they don't have, right? So to understand the enemy is to give you power. Now, in our perspective, they're not all evil either, because they are a species that were given free will. So the devil, remember, Satan wasn't bad at first. He was one of the most beloved of God. His species was on Earth long before humanity ever existed. And just like us, they built cities, they fought each other, they killed each other, they have different fates. They're made from a different material than we are. But they have a lot of it seems like on the surface level, they have a lot of the same struggles that our species, humanity, has with this gift that God gave us of free will, of choice. And what's interesting is the devil lived of those closest to God. And he was present when God was, and again, this is from the Muslim perspective, just to give a difference to the Christian audience, like the similarities and differences. And he watched Adam being created, and the jealousy entered his heart immediately. Because what happened with him was he was elevated to the highest level you could be for his species. He was brought to those closest to God. And we learned a lot about him and his powers and what his species can do. And when God created Adam, he decided to give Adam the inheritance of the earth. That's why he commanded all that were present to bow to him. And that part is the same in both of our faiths, where the devil refused to show respect to Adam, peace be upon him. And God said, I gave him something I didn't give you. I gave him knowledge,
That's interesting. That's interesting. Hold on, though. Going back to dreams, because we touched on dreams, but how I don't know if you were taught or if there's any teachings. How do you decipher what's what? How do you
Well, it's
decipher
real
what's
similar. It's really
attacked or
simple.
from God? Because
It's
they
real
do
s
try to mimic God. I don't know how you guys view it, but they try
it's
to
simple.
deceive.
It's simple.
Mm.
So, the ones that are just your memories, you could very quickly tell, "Hey, I had a dream last night, I was fighting my boss." That's easy, man, because you had a bad day with your boss yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Those ones that are fragmented memories of your daily life, those are pretty easy to decipher, you know? The second type are the ones that completely terrify you, bro. Nightmare. Those are the ones that come from the demonic realm. That's them attacking you in your sleep so they can startle you. They get a kick out of it. It's like a sport for them. I want to destroy, like, they're basically creating uneasiness in your life and in your soul. Okay. And it's also a sign if you're having repeat nightmares that your soul is polluted. They're having a field day with you. You have no protection. You haven't cleansed spiritually. You haven't maybe repented to the creator. Maybe you have intoxicants in you. It's through these intoxicants that they easily possess us, even if it's temporarily, because you're creating an opening for them to enter you. Like when they say the son of Sam, I think it was the son of Sam was listening to his dog tell him what to do. I actually believe that that's what was happening. I don't think it was just some craziness in his brain. I think the demonic realm literally used him as a vessel, you know?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they whisper into the hearts, or what people would call telepathy. They implant these thoughts into our minds. And sometimes when our spirit is so polluted, we act upon it because
mm,
we're gone. We're gone spiritually. I believe that's why a lot of homeless people who are living in their own excrement, who do not bathe regularly,
yeah,
who have no connection to the creator, they're very easy vessels for the demonic realm to possess. You see them ranting and talking to people that don't
yeah,
exist. I'm telling you,
yeah,
a good portion of them have been demonically possessed, in my opinion. And if you look at some of the crimes they do, and I'm not picking on them because it's unfortunate. I believe a lot of these people are the product of a failed society that is not acting by Christian. When they say Judeo Christian values, we shouldn't have people starving to death in the streets. We
mm,
shouldn't have this drug epidemic, and we should have better care for our homeless, and so on and so forth. So we're not operating by Judeo-Christian. We're operating by pure capitalism, greed, evil, and we're neglecting the most vulnerable of our society. But a lot of these people, like we just see the video right now of Irina, the girl that was on the bus, and you can see the dude just pull out a
oh,
switchblade.
the subway, yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no, she was on a bus in
Was it a
North,
bus?
I believe North Carolina, and
Oh.
it's just to me straight demonic, bro. Demonic.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is that people and you don't click into that. A lot of people don't click into that, and they just say it's because of this guy's race, or they say it's because he's crazy or this or that. But
That's
when
what
you
the devil
see
wants us to do. The devil wants
yeah,
us to blame race
yeah,
and to blame
exactly.
nationality so he can splinter the children of Adam and create them to fight and kill each other so he can bring as many of us with him as he can. And he's doing a
Yes,
phenomenal job.
because when
He's
you
done a
see what
phenomenal job.
yeah, because when you see what that guy did, it was like had like again, that's why I think there's such a pull away from people believing in any religion and believing in spirits and angels and demons because if you had the proper language as a regular person in society, you would easily see that that was demonic. You know,
Facts.
it's not letting that guy off the hook, but you have to see exactly what that was. That was a product of just demonic behavior. I mean,
She
the
literally
guy
just sat on the wrong seat,
he
bro.
just did nothing, and she did nothing. He just got up and just it's
Ended her life.
nuts how that
Ended her
happened,
life.
and you see so many of those different things, and no one I'm starting to see it a lot more when I see this behavior. I go, "Oh, there's something in that person." And again, I'm not letting them off the hook, but it's just you gotta understand what's at play, you know? It's funny that you say that about the homeless also, because as you're saying that about the homeless, what came to my head right away because again, I have this whole connection with, politics, the occult, and like I see the connections, and it's interesting that as you're saying that about the homeless, you look at California
Mhm.
and you look at the way that they run everything there and how it's almost like they make sure the homeless flourish. It's like that's what they want. And it's so funny because that's where Hollywood is. That's where you see a lot of the debauchery and the demonic type of stuff going on. That's where you see the agendas flourish the most. So it's like, maybe, I always say to my audience, I always say, I'm putting on my tinfoil Speedo right now, because I'm bringing out like an idea that's just like out there. But, you want this huge homeless population because you have this abundance of demons that you're trying to pull into this realm. And you're like, okay, let them be there for now. We're going to figure out more hosts for you. We're going to put out more movies so you can spread. But for now, you got this huge homeless population. Just jump in there. You're good there for now. Just stay there, and then you see these guys. There's a whole it's huge. How many homeless people are huge, gigantic.
There was no joke in DTLA, downtown LA. I'll be there next week, actually. So
and the thing about it is, it's like, Gavin, he got what, 20? It was like, I think it was like $24 billion.
What does your heart tell you when you see the guy's face, bro? Forget, like how I said earlier today. What's the first thing that comes out of your heart when you just looking at him? I see hypocrite all over his face, man.
Every time I have him on screen, whenever I'm doing an episode, I say lizard DNA. I go, look at this lizard DNA. I'm like, you guys can't see it. Like his eyes, the way he looks.
Homeless for 30 years.
30 years, and it's only gotten worse.
Every single time, and people buy it up. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Eventually you got to look in the mirror, and say, oh, maybe we should switch this guy out. But I really believe both sides are rigged, bro. It's like we have Coke or Pepsi, and which one do you want to choose?
Yeah, it's definitely, at the end of the day, with the core like things that they want to get done, I think it's the same, but I definitely don't want to see that guy as president.
No.
And that's what he's positioning for. It's just funny because, again, the $24 billion.
If he becomes president, God help us, bro.
It disappeared.
God help us.
And they're like, do you have any metrics to show how it helped the homeless? No. Did you build the tiny homes that you said you were going to build? No.
Nope.
Nothing. Just more homeless people. So it's like,
not only did he not help the homeless, there was no water in the fire hydrants during the biggest fire ever.
But that's what I mean. Like, I'm just saying, like, when it comes to the homeless, it's like at a certain point, I have said this before so many times when I'm talking about political topics. At a certain point, you have to look past incompetence. This long, it can't be just incompetence. You know what I mean? It's not like he's a good-hearted guy and it's just like, oh, I just messed up again. Like you said, 30 years. Eventually, if this guy had a good heart and he wanted to see something happen, this place, California, had some good people running it. Eventually they would go, okay, it's not working. It's been 10 years. We haven't done anything. Let's do something else. But no, it's the same thing over and over again. It gets worse and worse.
Taxed like crazy. The most expensive place to live. Yeah. Our most beautiful state run like garbage. And you know how you know that? You don't have to look outside of California. Just go to Orange County.
Yeah.
They don't play games there. They're serious. You don't see the homeless on the streets. They don't run the place like you feel safe there. You can walk like it's a completely different world 30 minutes away from LA. Completely different world.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah, I have a buddy that lives out there, and he wanted me to swing over there. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be in that place. And he's like, oh, no. He's like, you don't get it. He's like, this is different. Like, because he's in Orange County. He's like, it's completely
more Texas than Texas, bro. More Texas than Texas.
Yeah, he was explaining to me, he's like, the old money. He's like, you got to understand this old money. He's like, they're not like the Hollywood young people. He's like, this old money is completely different.
Extremely conservative there.
Yeah, very conservative. I had no idea.
You see what's going on in Austin, bro. I was there. You have all these people that left California.
Yeah.
Under Gavin Newsom. Failed state, failed city. Let's go to Austin now. Still thinking the same way they did in California. Like they say, don't California my Texas.
Exactly.
If you're leaving California because it failed you, when you go to Texas, shut your mouth. You're lucky you're even there. Shut your mouth. Shut the up. I'm sorry for my language. Shut the up.
It's true.
Because if your way was the right way, you'd still be living in California.
Yeah.
If California was so good and these politicians, but what they get these people on is something that they identify with, and they make them like, so they'll champion them on something that doesn't affect money. my brother Coach, is a generation of bastards, or as I've called them,
Yeah.
the only one calling it this, the bastard generation. This
Yeah.
ain't about race or this or that. This is about fatherless homes, period. This is about having children out of lust and not love. And deadly sins have deadly repercussions. That's why they could pull the trigger. That's why you could just pull out a switchblade on a bus and stab a random person. This is how I know we're going towards the end of time. Only God knows the hour, or as the Bible says, the Father. But we see the signs. So children born out of lust, this is not normal. This is a recent phenomenon. This is not normal. This is not normal. You've never seen this type of production of life outside the sacred bond between man and woman.
It's not even normal for the Black community. Like, you
It's
bring
not
up a
normal for
great,
anyone.
it
Black
happens.
community
It
was
happens so
infiltrated.
much. Yeah, man. I was gonna
Okay.
say
The
it
Black
was.
community, they took out your two greatest leaders, Malcolm X and Dr. King, because it was not like this in this before the 60s. Took them out, flooded your hoods with drugs, infiltrated hip hop, which was extremely positive when it first came out. That's a fact. And turned it into programming of the lowest vibration, where even I myself am friends with some of the biggest hip hop artists. You could check it out. I love him. No offense to my man Havoc or Mobb Deep, Tone Trump. I just had him on my show. He's making music with Philly Freeway, and I know all of them. And no offense to any of them. And most of them have become Muslim now. You know,
Yeah, no.
which is
Yeah.
better than the path they were on, regardless of where you stand spiritually. But I would see it myself, brother. I'd be in a nightclub. As soon as that music would hit, ain't no such things as halfway. But I wanted to just start knocking people out, brother, because music has power. No, I'm serious. Music, listen to me.
Subliminal, yeah.
And
It's
there's
very
a direct
subliminal.
correlation. And I'll tell you a fact that proves it, that the music is spiritually charged for violence.
Hold on. Let's get back to that. But I was just gonna say, it's even before, and I'm just gonna write it down. It's even before Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Even back in slavery days, they made sure to wed
Oh, yeah, they
properly,
split families up.
and they made sure, like, even when they were split up, they made sure if they married, they would actually marry. They would actually jump brooms and do the ceremony and everything. It's a very new thing, and it did happen because of the infiltration. But even looking back, way before Malcolm and way before Martin, there used to be well, everybody would have proper nuclear families, and it was important to everybody. And it was important to everybody to raise your son and to raise your daughter properly and to make sure they were courted properly. And it was across the board. It was like that.
The
And
whole
the
world.
the reason that I bring that up is because it's not really about race, but like, when I think about the Black community, and it's not something that was happening before. It happened to me because, I'm part of that gen. I was born in '86, right? It was
Full
taking
effect.
shape. Yeah.
Full effect. Or that time.
So it's like, I'm part of that generation of just,
And it wasn't
fucking
by
kids,
accident, bro.
right? Yeah,
It
no,
wasn't by
it
accident.
was very, very, very intentional. I can tell just because of the way things were, and the thing is, the reason I always bring this up, because I know a lot of people who watch me, they may be white. The reason I always bring this up is, I always say, because now they're doing it to you. Now they're doing the same thing to everybody. Before, there's just this little section where it's like, okay, just focus on the Black community. Now, if you look at that same template, they're doing it to everybody.
The whole world.
Everybody.
The whole
Everybody's getting that same treatment. And to go into what you were just going to say, a lot of it's through the music, but also through television,
Film.
showing what men
Hollywood.
look like what the father looks like, how they're morons and this and that. The
What else you want to know? What else you want to know when we look at TV in the 60s? The Brady Bunch, being together, family matters. I love that show as a kid. Look at the shit on TV today, bro. Look at the filth. The filth that's on television today. Look at the filth in the films we watch today.
It's crazy.
Disgusting, bro. And if you think that none of this has an impact on your psyche and your soul, you are a fool. You are a fool if you think you can listen to nonstop, shoot him in the head, kill him in the head, punch him in the face, take the bang the bleed the take another. You are a fool if you think you can listen to Cardi B. Come in, I get some money. Come in. If you think you can listen to this on a repeat and it doesn't affect your soul and the way you're gonna act, you are the the fool of all fools. If you think that you can feed this into your subconscious and it not destroy you, I say, look at the results around us, bro.
Yeah.
You don't need to listen to me. So the generation of bastards is rising because more children are born out of wedlock across the board. Doesn't matter what race you pick. Compared to what it was 50 years ago, it doesn't matter what race. You know who's a racist? The devil. Anyone that wants to judge creation based on their color, you're not a child of God. Period. Because you're saying, I know better than you, God. So when you hate someone because they're black or white or Asian, then you're telling the creator, I know better than you. You cannot be a racist and be a follower of God, even though throughout history, so-called people did and said, oh, I'm a Christian. No, you're not. If you had slavery, you could have held the Bible all day in your hands. You were not a Christian. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I'll debate them until the cows come home. No one is above each other based on this. And anyone that thinks they are, if you think you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew, you're a fool.
Yeah.
The devil got you. Because he's the first racist. Because if he just would have listened and showed respect to another creation, we wouldn't be here today, though.
Yeah. That's a good
It all
tie-in.
comes from
It's very-
hatred, bro. Hatred, envy. Envy is the most dangerous. Jealousy is the most dangerous emotion. It's why we're on Earth. And it's the number one reason why people still kill each other, man.
Yeah.
Hatred, like, oh man, he's flossing more than I am. And in the lower levels of people, like poverty-wise, that jealousy is even more powerful, man. It's that crabs in the bucket mentality.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you something. You know all this, right? You seem like you're a man of faith. You know all this stuff. Why are you going around partying with celebrities? Why are you around those people then?
Okay, so what's your definition of partying? Do I partake and drink?
I don't. Well, no. I assume just based on what I've heard from you and your faith, I'm assuming that you don't drink and you're not doing drugs or anything.
I do not drink. I do not use narcotics, and I am not actively partying. So I want to clarify.
Okay.
Going to an event, meeting up with people briefly, you can ask these people yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a veteran of New York City nightlife. That was my world before really taking faith more serious, realizing how messed up the world is, and all of that. As far as actually partaking in these things, not in that sense. Not womanizing, not drinking alcohol, and not using narcotics.
But these people, these guys, they're the things that they're all a part of. And I won't say all of them, but I'm just making the blanket statement of like Hollywood and what they're into, the debauchery that they're into, the occult that they channel, even if they're not doing it directly.
I think a lot of them don't even know what the hell they're doing based on my experiences with these people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have spiritual knowledge. That's number one. Number two, how are we going to reach anyone if we just turn our backs on them? Now, am I currently in nightclubs? I haven't stepped foot into a nightclub in over 3 years itself. Sometimes I'll post old clips. It's also to show the youth that, hey, I have this power. I could go right now into any club I want in New York City and not wait online, walk right in, get anything I want for free. That's the irony of life. When I was paying for it, none of it was free. And now that it's free and I can have it all I want, I don't even take it. It's like mind blowing to me. Like now it's all free and I don't want it. I don't use it. I don't drink it. I speak against it. So to me, it's like funny the way God makes things work. It's like when I wanted the clout and to be a party animal and drink and do all this, I was paying for it out of my own pocket.
Yeah, of course.
Now I don't want that lifestyle. I speak out against that lifestyle and it's all free. It's crazy to me.
So then what are you trying to do? You trying to wake these people up or what? What are you trying to do when you're around these people?
So again, I'm not in the nightlife in that aspect. Mm-hmm. Especially the last 3 years, I haven't stepped foot into a party or a club or any of that stuff. I'm also in a very, very serious relationship,
Good.
So that's another reason to be nowhere near that. And by the way, you're never going to find the right one in a nightclub. Just newsflash. Well, if you're going to the lowest vibrating places and you expect to find your soulmate, good luck with that. Alcohol and these things are number one destroyers of marriage. So it's not the place you want to meet someone that you're thinking about having a serious life with. So I would say, brother, the only time that I might go out or make is because I'm going to connect with someone of that caliber. Listen, you can't write no one off. Now, if I'm in an environment where they're getting like debaucherous and going crazy, like I'm never in that situation. A lot of times, it's a walkthrough. I'll go in, say hello to everyone, leave, but they willingly see, hey, he came in here, he doesn't drink, he left. It might be because someone's in town and the only place I get a chance to say hello to them, is like that type of stuff. But as far as partaking, brother, if anyone can find anyone that has seen me drink, I challenge the world. Anyone has seen me drink in the last 13 years, call me out. I'll never do another podcast again. There's an open invitation to the whole world. If you've seen me drink alcohol and party, drinking in the last 13 years, I'll never do another public speak ever. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit, but that's a very fair question.
Yeah, no, because I heard, just from random interviews talking about these A-list celebrities. I think Danny Jones, you're like, I gave up seeing these A-list celebrities.
Not all of them.
Blah, blah, blah,
But I am friends with a few pop stars. I don't agree with their lifestyle.
No?
No. Brother, to me, music is one of the biggest weapons that's used by the demonic realm.
Yeah.
We know from Satan that he taught the children of Cain how to make music. And it was used as a weapon to commingle the children of Adam, because they were separated at one point, right? After the first murder was committed, and he had given a command not to commingle with the children of Cain. It was through music and the celebration of the weekend. The weekend is not just a singer anymore, which, by the way, I think he's done using that name. I think he just had his last concert or something.
I don't know.
The concept of the weekend, getting together once a week to dance together, commingling of sexes, has gone on since almost day one on this earth, bro. That concept of once a week, let's get together, let's party, let's dance, and that has been going on since the time of Cain, literally.
How do you know this? Are they teaching this in the Quran? In Islam, they're teaching about Cain and Abel.
We know this from the traditions of the Prophet, the hadith, some of the stories. Remember, Muslims do view the gospel as a book of God. We believe that some of it has been altered, but we do believe there's truth in that book. We don't say it's not a book of God. Okay. So we kind of look at the Bible as, we believe the Quran's the last testament of God. We have the Old Testament, which is the Torah, right? The book of Moses, peace be upon him. We have the Psalms of David, the Gospel of Christ, and then we believe in the last testament, which is the Quran.
Okay.
Whatever doesn't contradict the final message. So, for example, in the New Testament, it says that Lot, if I'm not mistaken, it was Lot slept with his daughter. We undeniably, that's a prophet of God, never committed incest, bro. It says it in the Bible, though. We know there's no way that that's true. It's impossible. So that's an example where, yes, I believe the Bible is the word of God, but there's no way in hell a prophet of God slept with his own daughter. It's impossible. I don't give a what book says it. There's no way it happened.
I don't know that part. I'm very young in my faith. I only got saved like 3 years ago. Actually, around the same time I got sober. So probably 3.5 years ago, I got saved. So I'm just getting into the whole praying as a family and devotionals and scripture every day. Like I'm only just getting
time to learn a faith, coach. Like it's time. Like people think it's a joke. Like they see a 20-second video about any faith and they think they're a master. Even I say, brother, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, man. My memory can lapse. Like I always say, please, because I have a responsibility, at least from the Muslim perspective. Let's say I teach you something wrong. And I don't think a lot of preachers think like this. You better be careful what you're saying in God's name. You better be real careful, because the amount of people that you may be misinforming in his name, you're going to pay a very heavy price. And I'm scared of that myself.
Yeah, you should.
Sometimes I make a slip, like in one of my first lectures, I made a honest mistake because there was like a little lapse in my memory. I was trying to state like how much Jesus is mentioned in our faith, right? In the Quran,
Mhm.
peace be upon him. He has his mother has her own chapter. And I misquoted by saying he's the most mentioned in the book. He's not. What I really meant to say is he's one of the most mentioned in the book and in the
Yeah.
faith.
Mhm.
Honest mistake. Nothing there to deceive. Honest mistake. But still, it's wrong. He's not the most mentioned. The most mentioned is Moses. He's the most mentioned prophet in the Holy Quran.
Wow.
Jesus is in the top mentioned and very important, and also very important in prophecy and end of time stuff. But so, like honest mistakes. But to purposely deceive or lead people astray, like you better be careful. Like when you're a public person, every word you speak, you don't know how many people it's reaching. You make mistakes that shift people's. Now, imagine the ones that are using this power to incite hatred and violence. Imagine how
Yeah.
much sin is being racked up on their side,
Yeah.
inspiring hatred towards a race, inspiring hatred to cause violence. Like you're going to have to answer to God for everyone you inspired in that aspect. You're responsible for this mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
As the prophet said, peace be upon him, guarantee me this, what's between your legs, and I'll guarantee you paradise. You can control what's between your legs and your mouth. I guarantee you paradise. The two hardest things that most people have trouble controlling.
So listen. I
Yeah.
gotta ask you, what do you think about Peter Thiel and this whole Antichrist lecture that he's giving
I
right
think
now?
it's crazy. I think it's insane. Am I looking forward to it? No. But yes,
But yes,
man, I'm looking forward to see how crazy this is going to be. Like this is something I'm definitely going to make a whole episode on and react to because this is crazy to me. What do I think? I think his technology lays down the foundation for that very system. I think his entire technology is literally the system of the beast, mark of the beast type stuff. 100%. And I think it ties into crypto and social credit scores. And this is the world that we're being forced into because you know why they're printing so much money? Because they know they're not going to pay it back. The whole thing's coming down. In my opinion, it's a part of the agenda to collapse fiat currency,
no.
which is
But
already messed up.
the whole thing with the Antichrist. What do you think he's trying to do with this lecture on the Antichrist? 4-part series over 4 days. It's from the 15th of September to like October 6th type of thing. It's like,
And that's a crazy thing too. Like the amount of time he needs to even talk about this subject is crazy too.
yeah.
It's going to be very. It starts at what next week, right?
Yeah, I think what he's gonna try and do, what I'm trying to talk about, I think he's gonna try and normalize it. I think he's gonna try and normalize the concept of the Antichrist, and I think he's gonna try and make people think that it's something that's already here within government, that it's not like a person or anything like that. It's just like it's a way of thinking, it's a way of operating in government, it's a way of operating in society, and it's already here, and it's not something that we need to worry about. So everybody will have their guard down. The same way we talk about people not knowing about the demonic realm, not knowing what they're experiencing with sleep paralysis, right? It lets it so they put their guard down. They go, a lot of people just think sleep paralysis, they go, oh, it's just a hallucination, and they discard it. And then it happens to them for years. So it's like those
when the
demons,
serpent in the Garden of Eden was whispering to our mother Eve to try to convince her to eat from the forbidden fruit, right? It's going to come and give you rationale. Like, this is good. Like, do it. It's good for you. Yeah, that's basically what you're saying. He's going to come and try to precondition and put our, defenses down. I agree. I mean, 100%. Whatever he's doing is going to be to try to propagate and make what he's trying to bring to the whole world. This Palantir thing is no joke, right? It's going to keep, it's literally like Skynet, scrubbing nonstop. And I think it's going to interrupt due process and civil liberties and all kinds of stuff, which I don't know how you can be a Christian or a Muslim in today's world and knowing the prophecies in these faiths that a lot of them do overlap and that we're both waiting for a false one that will rise, that does rise from the other side of the ocean, brother, because he ain't going to be ruling from DC. I promise you that much. He has to be instead of Christ. Anti means instead of. And the Messiah rules from the Temple Mount. Period. That's where his temple will be, because it has to be instead of Christ. Peace be upon him. I believe the
It's
system is being built. I believe the groundwork is being laid, so they start to construct the next temple. And when you see those stones come up, there's going to be nowhere to hide and nowhere to run. And I believe this technology plays a vital, crucial role. They already have their net. Why do you think it's called the World Wide Web?
web. Yeah.
What is a web used for? Is to entangle its prey. We already are within its clutches everywhere we go. It's always listening to us. God-like qualities, right? God is the all-hearing, the all-knowing, the all-seeing. They're creating their God digitally. And then I believe it'll manifest physically because you'll actually see a human being claiming to be God. Whereas Pharaoh was the last most powerful human being on earth who said, no, I'm God. Even though he saw the miracles of God, his arrogance was on that. That's the greatest story from that. That a human being could become so arrogant that they could literally witness the miracles of God and still say, I'm God. Meanwhile, they got to go take a piss and eat right after dinner. Right? And that's what the Antichrist is going to do. I'm God. Look at me. You guys don't have any water? I'm going to make it rain. Oh, you don't have food? You're starving? Follow me. Here's the food. You understand?
Yeah.
I came to bring, but he doesn't rise unless there's complete chaos, right? It's in the aftermath of what some would call Armageddon or World War III or whatever you want to call it. It's in that aftermath that he rises because he has to come and bring the peace. And we're going to make sure this never happens again, you know?
That's one thing that Peter Thiel, have you ever heard him talk about the Antichrist before?
No.
Oh, wow. So that's actually what he says. He says that exact thing. He's like,
by monitoring everyone, we're going to bring peace.
No, well, that's his end result in what he's doing. But he always talks about, I was just listening to it yesterday. I did an episode on it. He's talking about peace and safetyism. He goes, the Antichrist is always going to talk about Armageddon, and it's going to talk about, bringing peace and safety. And it's very interesting because his technology and other people, there's also Sam Altman, there's also Elon, his technology is also going to bring about the peace and safety that they'll claim is needed, which is why they'll be able to, broaden what his technology is doing. They'll be able to broaden it throughout the world, definitely throughout the nation, definitely throughout the world, I think.
Problem, reaction, solution. Same tactic every time.
Mm-hmm.
September, what happened? Right? 25 years ago, 24 years ago.
Is it 24 years ago?
I was underneath those buildings when they were hit. And
Wow.
I saw everything happen in real life. And I knew the world would never be the same again. And I still have questions to this day about what really happened there. I don't think anyone's buying it anymore. And here we are 24 years later. A lot of our civil liberties have been stripped. You could be charged with certain types of crimes and you have no habeas corpus. How is that America? How are you an American with rights? You get charged with a certain thing. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty under a court of law by a jury of my peers. I don't care what the crime is. That is how this nation was supposed to operate. Now, I know that those same rights never applied to African Americans in slavery. So it's a little hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's just crazy. Like, it's like everything we were ever taught. I was so proud to be American at one point, man. I swear to God, so proud of my country, man. Yeah, there was that horrible stain on its inception and slavery and what happened to the Native Americans that no one talks about, really. It's just a watered down BS we read in a textbook. With the exception of those two events, what it was supposed to stand for and how far it came. And I was like, yes, President Obama became a president. Like, we've beat this finally. It was all bullshit, bro. All of it was bullshit. Complete and utter a lie. It was all a lie. And then, believing the movies as a kid that the president's always the good guy and he'll sacrifice his life. Like, when you watch the movie Independence Day and or like, what was the other film? Was it 2012? I think it was, where the president was Danny Glover, I think. And he's like, no, he's telling his daughter, I'm going to stay here with the people and you get on the airplane and fly off. And they would be the first ones in the bunker, bro.
I was going to say, yeah,
first ones in the bunker, they wouldn't give a shit if all of us perish. So it's like looking in the mirror and realizing that I always thought we were the good guys. We've been the oppressors for the last 100 years at least, minimum.
well,
Crazy.
in regards to being proud, I think you should still be proud. I mean, it's hard.
I'm proud of what it's supposed to stand for.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to always. I remember
All men are created equal.
I remember
You know?
Vivek Ramaswamy talking about this. He said, because somebody was bringing up these exact points, and he was like, "It's about the ideal." He's like, we're not at. We definitely weren't at the ideal back then,
Striving for it.
but we strive for the ideal. And year after year, election after election, you're hoping that you're getting closer to that ideal. And when you look around the world, there aren't many other places striving for this type of ideal that
There's no
America
one
is
else.
striving for.
There's no one else.
Like America falls. It's the last. I always say this. It's the last stand. It's the last place.
America.
Because the other most powerful places, what they have in mind for how a place should be run, if all of a sudden that spreads, we have a very dark world ahead of us.
The amount of freedom we have here, that's a fact. I agree with you, Coach. The amount of freedom we have here compared to all of history and how things have run throughout time under kings and being serfs and all this, even though I think we've become corporate serfs. We're living in a corporate feudalistic society where the corporation is the powerful lord, where 200 years ago, the landowner was the powerful lord and he gave his peasant serfs just enough to survive. We've actually evolved into that because of how capitalism has, grown, and we're supposed to break up monopolies, and that hasn't been happening. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Amazon's a monopoly. Monopoly. Uber's a monopoly on taxis. Like, where's the monopoly busters? They're supposed to break these corporations up after a certain point. They're not doing it. Yeah, so you have all of tech with politicians now all on the same team, having dinner at the White House, Billy Gates and Donald Trump, and I went viral for this. I said, no one's coming to save us. The only one coming to save us is Jesus Christ. And that's a Muslim saying it. That's what we have in common. And I think the greatest threat to them is the unity. We don't have to believe what each other believe. What do we have in common? We both believe he was chosen by God to deliver the message and to come back and save the world. We both share the exact same belief in that capacity. Where we differ is, what was his role? Was he actually God himself or just another prophet? Now I understand that's the difference between salvation and both faiths. I get that. Does that mean we should wipe each other out? If he's coming back, when he comes, he'll say, you were right, you were wrong. He's going to tell us. Now, I understand there's a difference between salvation, who God was, who he wasn't. I understand that. We all understand that risk. But right now, there's this hidden enemy that is manipulating the differences we have in faith to achieve the agenda they have right now, which is going to destroy all of us.
Yeah.
We both believe in the nuclear family. We both believe you shouldn't be taking drugs and drinking alcohol. We both believe you shouldn't be gambling. We both believe you should not be using interest. Jesus Christ flipped the table when they were dealing with usury. The entire system is built on usury, forbidden by the Creator. In your faith too. And that's how they run this entire system. They want us to kill each other, fight each other, point the fingers at each other. If they can't do it by faith, they do it by race. If they can't do it by race, they do it by sexual preference. If they can't do it by sexual, whatever they can do to keep the children of Adam at each other's throats while they push the demonic agenda, whether it's through technology or brainwash or all of the above together, and our time is running out. I keep saying to my Christian brothers and sisters, we don't have to agree, but we agree on the most important stuff. There's a God. There's a day of judgment. Don't take life unless you're defending yourself. Don't oppress. Don't be oppressed. Stay away from adultery, sex within marriage, family within marriage. Like, we're on the same team against what's really coming for us. How are we going to stand against this power? Satellites, this, that, phones. Bro, we're running out of time. I do believe the Antichrist system is already, the foundation's laid, brother. We're in trouble. And I do believe
it's a person.
Technology.
Do you think it's a person or
Absolutely, it's going to be a physical person that you will see in the flesh. But until he appears, the system must be created. The
What do you
world
think it's
must
going to
be in
be? What do you
chaos.
think it's going to be? What do you think
It's
it's
going to
going to
be a
be?
man
You think it's
who
going to be a
claims to
man?
be God. It's going to be like Pharaoh. And I believe
What about
this
do you think it's this Madid guy? How do you say his name? Madid?
Amadi,
Yeah.
that guy, listen, we can't rule him out. We can't rule him out at this point, but he's definitely overstepped his boundaries. There's nothing about him that's Muslim. He could
What-
use the name. He said, I'm the
He claims, like,
successor of the
everything.
Pope. And he says he's the successor of every one of our religions, bro. What else you want to know?
Yeah. It's
Now, what's
crazy.
crazy about him is if you research him, he was the creator of a documentary called The Arrivals.
Really?
And I'm not going to lie, it was probably, for its time, one of the greatest explanations of the Antichrist and what to look for in the world. It was actually eye-opening. It was actually very effective in
Really?
waking people up to the dangers of the world and the way it's actually run. Facts. So I don't know, did they get to him when he made this documentary and it went around the world? And it shows a lot of the missing pieces. You can't even find it on YouTube. You could still find it on Rumble.
Mhm.
Very poor graphics and stuff, because we're talking early 2000s. Okay.
Yeah.
Very poorly put together, but the information, I watched it over 20 times at that time. Over 20 times. Notes, go back, look at some of this stuff. Okay. What's crazy to me is that he made something like that. Did they get to him? Did they say, oh, you did this? And because what he's talking about now and what he's claiming to be, bro, it's very weird, very strange. Very, very strange.
Yeah, for people who don't know, this guy, he's claiming to be the successor of Jesus. Does he say Muhammad as well?
Yeah, Muhammad, Jesus, the Pope, all of them.
Yeah. The false Pope, he calls him. Like, he's like going through everything. And then he has these followers. They all wear hats like this. Like, I might have to change the type of hat I wear, because now people are going to think,
Oh, stay yellow. You're good. It's black.
yeah, exactly. They all do the black ones.
And then the Muslims are saying, well, maybe because they believe in Islam, if you still have light in your soul, you'll see the word non-believer on the head of the Antichrist. If you have faith, you'll be able to see he's the false one. Right. So they keep saying, lift up your hat, because some of them think it actually might be him. Who knows? But there's one characteristic of him that we know from our tradition. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, I will tell you one thing about the Antichrist, the Dajjal, as he's known. That's how you say in Arabic, the false Messiah. Al-Masih al-Dajjal. I will tell you one thing about him that no other prophet told his people, for you will fight him. He has one eye, but your Lord God does not have one eye. Now, what's their symbol, Coach Colin?
Yeah. One eye, yeah.
Huh? This is his words, that he will have one eye, but God does not have one eye. He will be a tall man of pale complexion. Okay. And he will have two eyes, but one of them will be damaged. Or maybe what the Bible alludes to, the son of perdition. Injured, but he survives. So I don't know. But
interesting.
If one of these presidents ends up losing an eye or something, bro, crazy times we live in, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to be someone very powerful, world leader, who physically has one eye that looks like a grape that was popped. Picture a grape and you smash it. That's how the eye is going to look of the Antichrist.
Really?
If based on Islamic eschatology. Now, if you see that happen, then you know what time it is, Coach Colin.
Wow, that's very interesting. Then,
but I'm asking you, are we not already seeing the sign, Coach Colin? All they do is this. Who are they pledging allegiance to, Coach Colin?
Yeah.
Every video.
Yeah,
that's all they do.
Well, that's part of the reason why I was asking you about, well, like, why be around those people. That's part of the reason I was asking.
Not all of them are not. First of all, you make it sound like I'm with them every day. I'm not. They are okay. Not all of them understand who they're working for.
I think by now, by maybe the new ones, I think by now, a lot of the ones that have been around since 90s, 2000s up till now, I think they know exactly who they're working for. I think they've been in enough rooms. I think they've heard enough about Diddy. I think they've heard enough about
it's usually where they leave.
The parties and this and that.
Yeah.
They know who they're.
It's funny because once they exit, you see them speaking like we speak, right? So that's why we can't write them off. They're not all. A lot of them, when they get in, they're young. They don't know nothing. They don't know their ass from their elbow. They enter 18, 19, 20. You
Yes.
think Justin Bieber understood the world when he became famous? He knew nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That doesn't mean we should write them off and still try to give them the good word and try to bring them, closer to God. A lot of them fall into depression. I mean, I'm not going to get into this publicly, but I had a very famous pop star who was suffering from the worst anxiety ever. I already knew what was wrong with her. Before we even spoke, she's explaining this. I feel like this. I feel like that. Have you been going to a shrink? Yeah, I've been going. Is it working? No. Okay. What does that tell you? Taking all this medicine, is it working? No, it's not. Because what's wrong with you is spiritual. It ain't physical, and it's not mental. If you're already seen a shrink and you've done everything else and nothing else is working, for those of you that suffer from extreme anxiety, I promise you, you're spiritually corrupt. You need to defrag your soul is the problem. And when you're a public person, even you, coach, you're at risk. I'm at risk. We learned this also from Joseph, by the way, the theme of this podcast.
Yeah.
From the Muslim perspective, Jacob commanded his sons to enter the gates of Egypt separately. And it says that he said so that the evil eye may not hit you all at the same time. The evil eye is a spiritual sickness that can manifest physical symptoms in a human being, meaning extreme anxiety, very horrible depression that never goes away. You never feel safe. You're always in a state of complete sorrow. You have anxiety even to leave your house. You'd rather not deal with people at all. You become extremely introverted. And your mind is as foggy as can be. You're not like you used to be. You're not sharp like you used to be. And it happens so much today because of how public we are, because of how much women I haven't met a normal, beautiful woman in a long time, bro. They all seem to have the same, because all they're doing is displaying these gifts that God gave them. Beauty is a curse. Yes, it is. The way they're using their beauty, it is a curse, bro, for them. They're not being modest like the Virgin Mary. They're not covering their bosom. They're using it as a weapon to seduce men. And then the funniest thing is they write these things like, I just can't stand all the attention from men. Then why are you feeding their desires when you know exactly how their mind operates? That's like waving a steak in front of a lion and expecting the lion not to pounce. That's just the way the man is wired by the Creator. Okay, he can lower his gaze, but when it's everywhere you look, every swipe, you go outside, women are butt naked, brother. Butt naked. Oh, but I'm wearing tights. I got a newsflash for you women. Us men prefer you in the tights over anything else. We see every nook and cranny of your body, even your camel toes sometimes. Like, are you that stupid? New York City, you got women walking around with no bras. I'm seeing what only their intimate partner should see. So we've taken what's private and should be shameful, and we've made it public and celebrated it. The devil got us completely flipped upside down. And I don't care what faith you're in. You have to agree. Look at the world we live in. This is not how the world was 60 years ago, even in this country. When I Dream of Jeannie came on television, they protested her belly button being shown.
Elvis, his hips, him moving his hips.
Okay,
they were like that.
This was a Christian nation.
Yeah,
it was a Christian nation. Yes, I agree. You had Christian principles that were completely eroded away through music, through Hollywood, through filth. And there's not much left of Christianity and even Islam, except its name and what people should be doing.
And the few followers that are still really devout, But tell me more about the evil eye, because I heard you talking about this, and I've just heard you talking about it now, and it's one of the questions I have written down. So you explained like what you'd be feeling, and you talk about how when you're public, you're a little more open. But like, what is it? Is it people doing it to you? Is it an?
It's not done intentionally. Okay, something done intentionally is black magic. Okay. So let me just check one thing here if I can real quick.
No, it's okay. Also, if you ever have to go to the washroom, let me know. You can go to the washroom. I edit up.
So, because I just wanted to give a couple quotes here. So even in, the Bible itself, right? In Matthew chapter 6, 22 to 23, Jesus says the eye is the lamp of the body, but if your eye is evil, your whole body will be full of darkness. Here, evil eye refers to greed, envy, or a corrupt outlook, not a mystical curse. Proverbs 23:6, do not eat the bread of a man who has an evil eye, nor desire his delicacies. Mark 7, verse 22, list the evil eye among sinful attitudes that come from within a person, right? And again, it's this transference. What it basically is this. When you have blessings that God gave you, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your looks, you're supposed to safeguard the blessings that God gave you, not celebrate them in a vain fashion.
Mm.
Arrogance always leads to our destruction, pride and ego, or as, so as a woman, if I'm using my looks, I know men are lusting. And because you're not protecting yourself or those men, God allows it to happen, bro. You're flaunting what you should be protecting, what only your husband should have. And it's the same thing for men. Men are not off the hook, at least from the Islamic perspective. A man's supposed to grow a long beard because it makes him look ugly. It hides his handsomeness. He's not supposed
Really?
to. He's not. Yeah, men are also commanded to cover in Islam, but in a different way. That's why they have the beard, and they're supposed to be covered from bare minimum above the belly button down to past their knees. Nothing to be exposed from that area, right? As to not seduce women or make their lustful looks also, because men can also, right? The evil eye impacted my life.
So then, what's happening? Like you're talking about like men and women, but like, how does it happen with us? Like you're
So
talking about
basically,
being public.
sometimes it happens from those closest to you, brother. You're doing well. Your own biological brother's not doing good.
Yeah.
And maybe you haven't been kind enough or Christian enough or Muslim enough to help your brother out. And you have it. Like one touch of a button, you could turn around and say, yo, you're short this month, or you need work, my brother, and I'm making $1 million a year. You're my biological brother. And I'm not saying if he's a complete criminal. I'm talking about you have the means to very easily help your own family and you don't. And I'm not saying that's what causes it, but I'm just giving it a scenario. Those closest to you are struggling. You've been blessed by the Creator. Not only are you not helping them, but you're boasting about the gift that God gave you.
Mm.
God gave you the gift to test you. First of all, the hardest test to pass as any follower is the test of pleasure. Because when everything is going good, you feel so favored by God, most people forget him in those moments.
Yeah,
It's
man.
the poor that
So
God
true.
fears. Why? Because if he gave you those blessings look at what the rich people are doing, bro. And I'm not hating on people that work hard, but look at what they all end up doing.
Yeah, man.
Cheating on their wives, doing this, doing that. At the highest levels, they want to destroy all of humanity, bro. They literally think they are gods above us. They're following the satanic cult. You're crazy.
So you're saying that both parties play a part in the evil eye?
Yes. Now it can happen. It can just happen, but you're supposed to do things to protect yourself if you believe in God.
Mhm.
Don't flaunt your blessings in people's faces, especially when they don't have it. People love to show up. This is why so many hip hop artists, pop artists, all of them, this is why they die, bro. I promise you. They are so exposed to the world. They're so envied. They're my idol. They're my idol. They're my idol. So many people admire them. Most of them don't even say thank you to the Creator. They have no defense. Why do you think Robin Williams took himself out? Who would ever thought he would have took himself out? Because they're so adored and so admired and so envied by so many, it's almost impossible to be public and not have it affect you at least once in your lifetime. And if you don't know how to take it off of you, my friend, you're going to go to shrinks. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I promise you, if you've been going to shrinks for a long time, taking all these psychotropic stuff, trying to get rid of all these symptoms that never go away, unless you have some serious mental defect that there's just no cure for, you have to try the spiritual. You have to reconnect with source, the God that created you. You have to beg for forgiveness. You have to baptize. It's actually an act of baptism where you make holy water and you charge the water and you cleanse. You basically baptize yourself in the Creator's name. And you beg for that Creator to remove any evil that may be upon you, including the evil eye.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I've been feeling called to get baptized actually. So I actually want to do that soon, very soon, like very very soon. But yeah, I've been that's been something that's been kind of speaking to me lately is getting baptized. But I wonder about the evil eye because I know.
Now, if you wear an amulet, that ain't gonna save you. That stupid
Yeah.
That's an idol. That is a form of idolatry.
Yeah, because I've definitely, I feel like I've experienced it. Now, when you say it's the closest people around you, I fully agree with that. Like, like my wife, like we have one kid already, right? And when she first was about to have that kid, I was like, and we didn't know everything. There's like a certain period. I'm like, don't tell anybody. I'm like, you don't tell your mother, your father, not my mother, nobody, no family, nobody, no friends, nobody, until that baby is past the point of, being a little not as fragile in a
Yep.
state. I'm like, don't tell anybody. And, I never explained it to her, but I'm like, I only want our energy focused on this child.
You did
Nobody
that
else's.
right, brother. And then it's even harder. Like if it doesn't get through like the first trimester or two when things don't happen, like that's a very painful loss, especially once everyone knows about it also. You know what I mean?
Well,
So it
there's
is
that,
best
but
not
it's
to
like,
announce it at first, like it's really good not to announce it for a while. You know?
yeah. No, I just like, even beyond that, I was just like, I only want our energy because we're the only two people who are not going to have any doubt. We're the only ones that are going to go, is Colin making enough money? Should she really be doing that? How much weight is she going to gain? We're not going to have any of those thoughts. We're invested in God. We're not going to have any thoughts like that. We're invested in each other. We want our family. So our energy, us together, are the only energies that I wanted on it for that type of purpose. But towards the evil eye, how do you get rid of it? You're saying baptize. You're saying wash yourself, cleanse yourself. How do you get rid of it?
Now, what's interesting is that I've had so many people reach out, and I don't charge for this. I don't make a penny off this. Like I said, I never wanted to talk about faith or any of this stuff. That's not why I went into podcasting. Okay. And I also don't want to lose the blessings of sharing knowledge. That's why I don't charge for this stuff.
Mhm.
So, what I've advised people to do, okay, and I've had non Muslims do this, okay, and remember, it's the same word in all three faiths. You can sit here and they can twist it all they want. Elohim, Elah, Aramaic, Allah, Arabic, Allah. It's not a name. It's a cognate. It's a word that's the same in three languages. Those are cousin languages. You have Christian Arabs, the word for God is Allah. It's not a name. It's not a name the way they try to like push it in. And it's amazing to me how far the devil has penetrated to convince even Christians that the word Allah, is their enemy. And they even use the word demon, where I can show you in the Aramaic scriptures where that word is used 100 times, bro. You could pull up the movie Passion of the Christ and listen to Jesus saying Allah. I swear to God, saying Allah. It's not a name. The God. That's what it means. The one God.
What do you do
Right?
though?
So what do we do is very simple. There's 3 verses of the end of the Quran that purposely came down for this spiritual disease and for a cure against black magic. You take a gallon of water. We use these verses. You sing them into the water. You charge the water. You make holy water. You can't have intoxicants in you. You can't have alcohol in you. If you drink alcohol, you're cut off from source for 40 days in the faith of Islam. You have allowed an intoxicant, something that was created by the demonic realm. Demons taught humanity how to make alcohol. Spirits. The ancient Egyptians, I don't find it by accident that they found a form of beer during their time, brother. It's one of the oldest beers ever discovered. We know that Pharaoh did sorcery and black magic. This is in all 3 faiths. He did black magic. Facts. So when you charge the water in the Creator's name, then you make sincere intention to your God. And basically you say, oh God, to you alone belongs all glory. There's no one worthy of worship except you, oh God. In your name, I ask you if there's any evil upon me, or if the evil eye or black magic be upon my soul, I ask you, God, to cleanse my soul and forgive me for my sins. In your name, I pray the Most High. You take the water that you've charged with the verses, you drink 1 glass, and then you baptize. You pour the rest all over you. Thousands of people, bro. Thousands of people. I swear to God. Non-Christian, if they're watching this, drop comments. It doesn't matter what denomination, it worked. But I had people. I was about to get divorced. Me and my wife, this and that. I asked first question, was your wife really attractive? Yep. I said, there you go. How was she dressed when she goes out? She would wear short skirts, her breast basically. I said, there you go. That's why she has all that anxiety. She's flaunting the beauty that God gave her. That comes from people that may not be as attractive as her. Other women, they're the worst with each other. You know that already. I don't have to tell you. that, that wearing that dress over here in front of our men, they might deny it. I definitely need some work. They might deny it publicly, but you know that's what they be doing. Look at this Roxanne over here dressing like this in front of our man. Why she got to dress like that in front of our man? You like my acting skills or not?
I can tell. I can tell it's a New York.
What did I do?
You just turned off your camera. I can tell it's a New York chick that you were talking about. Like even right before we started the interview, I was looking at this video. This guy talking about this intergalactic federation. And
where are they getting all this information from, bro? What books? What sources? What messenger? Who's feeding them this narration, bro?
It's like an intergalactic, and we're being examined.
Galadians. Like, where are you getting these names from, bro? Who gave you these names, bro?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, where does that come from?
I meditated. It came to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but who's coming to you? Who's coming to you when that?
Exactly.
It's just crazy.
When you meditate, you're leaving yourself open. That's why I stopped doing meditation and I went to prayer.
Meditation's not bad as long as you're not, listen, all the greats meditated, bro.
Yeah, but you have to actually, like, all the greats also had training and experience. If you're just a person just sitting down to do it, you can open yourself up to some bad stuff. But when you go into prayer, and I know, buddy, like I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood, and then also, like, as the neighborhood evolved, a big Muslim presence came as well. And it's like, I see guys my whole life who have a dedicated way of praying. And there's a reason for that. It's not just that they just want, like, the Orthodox Jews, they do daven 3 times a day, Muslims 5 times a day, certain times, certain positions, certain words. There's a reason for that. If you're just a regular know-nothing person and you're just sitting down to meditate, it could be a good thing, but it could also go really bad because you're opening yourself up. But when you say, Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, I'm praying to you. It's like signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to this person. Allah, it's going to this person. Hashem, it's going to this entity. It's going to God. But when you open yourself up, devil, Satan, there you go. There you go.
Ooh, I'm sorry about that, bro.
It's all good. It's all good.
Bro, I swear to God, I preach the word sometimes, bro. I saw a TV explode right in front of me, dude.
I've heard of things like that happening, electrical things happening when people are talking about things, and sometimes they view it as an attack. Sometimes they just view it as, you're just altering some frequencies.
I'm sure Benjamin Franklin was just flying a kite up and he figured it out with a kite how to get electricity. Come on. My man was a part of the occult, bro.
That's what I mean. Like, but when we were talking about meditation just now, it's like, yeah, it's good, but you open yourself up to a lot of things. You really have to know what you're doing. I started realizing, because I'm a big example of meditating for an hour at night, an hour in the day, hour in the morning, hour at night, and I didn't really know what I was opening myself up to. There was no Hashem, there was no Jesus, there was no Allah in my practice. It was just open myself up, empty myself out. But when you do that, what are you allowing in? Christians want to be filled with the Holy Spirit. Like every religion wants to be filled with the ultimate good that they know.
Intention. It's what's the intention behind. What are you doing it to seek knowledge? Are you doing it to tap into things you shouldn't be tapping into?
Yeah.
And I will never say meditation is bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying
if the intention is with some rituals that you don't understand what they are, you need to do a sound bowl and all this stuff. Sound is the number one way to attract the demonic realm, by the way.
True.
Okay. And Lucifer, Satan, was what the Christians call, I don't believe he was an angel, but they call him the angel of music, right? But we both agree that he was the one that influenced humanity into making music.
Yes. That's why the stars of today are all the quote unquote stars of today. They're the most idolized ones are the musicians.
Oh, I felt something. Yeah, because when you're spinning that sound bowl, what did you summon? You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. You think
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying meditation is bad, but you got to know what you're doing. Like, I just did an episode on people were talking about astral travel. One rapper was talking about sleep paralysis. Joey Badass. You probably know Joey Badass. He's a New York guy, young New York guy. but he's talking about sleep paralysis being a gift, astral projection being the thing that kings get to do. If you're a king
Remote
and
viewing.
queen, all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, like, I'm trying to tell the audience, like, if you want to do it, go ahead and try and do it. It's fine. But you don't know what you're doing. The analogy I used is, you know, you might be in some suburb in your house, but when you go into that realm, when you lift your body out of yourself and you astral project, you don't know, like, what is a suburb in the earthly realm can be like the hood in the spiritual realm. You don't know what things are out there. You don't know what's living in that realm. So now that you're up and you're opening yourself out, you're in New York, you look like a mark. You're walking into a neighborhood, you don't know nobody in the neighborhood. You're walking around like Ned Flanders. There's a bunch of guys on the prowl. They're ready for you. The same thing can happen in the spiritual realm. They'll come at you.
How many people I've had beg me to do ayahuasca, bro? Okay? Beg me to do it. Now, I don't know if you've ever done it, brother, in your previous life before you became a Christian. Did you ever experiment with it?
Yeah, I did it once.
What's your general, honest to God, what's your general opinion of it?
Well,
I've gotten a mixed bag from people. Some had
listen,
horrific experiences.
I was in a place. Okay. I mean, like literally, like physically, we were in a place. There's a bunch of people doing it, right? I'm sitting there. I'm just breathing. My eyes are closed. I'm just sitting there.
Did you do it with a shaman? Was there a
Yes.
shaman there?
Yes.
Why do you need a shaman? You see what I'm saying? But go ahead.
There was two. But I'm there. I'm just breathing. There's a guy beside me in another bed. He is screaming. He is yelling. He is going through the worst experience I've ever seen, ever. Period, point blank, whether it's psychedelic or not. The worst experience I've ever seen. He's screaming. He's punching holes in the wall. He is on the ground. The shaman, gentle guy. I open my eyes one time through the whole experience. I see the shaman. He's holding him. He's like, he almost has him in a headlock because the guy's like just going nuts. Later, the guy says that he experienced hell. He experienced all the bad things that he's done to people. He had a terrible, terrible experience. I had an experience where I was doing a lot of psychedelics and I don't know what it was. Okay. I can't tell you if it was angelic or demonic. I can't tell you, but this thing was like, you should be asking for your wife's hand in marriage. You should be mending your relationship with your brothers, and you should not be doing this anymore. Those three things throughout the whole experience, it just kept telling me you should be marrying your wife. You should be mending the relationships with your brothers, becoming closer with your brothers, and you should stop coming to this place. You don't need to do it. It said you don't need to be doing this anymore. It said, look around you, because the guy's screaming. There's another person in another room screaming. It goes, look around you. This could be dangerous. That could be you. That's what it was telling me. It was like, that could be you. Just right beside you. This guy's screaming, going nuts. That could be you in the other room. It was like, stop doing this. And that was like 2018. I haven't touched anything since. I took the message. I got the message loud and clear. Married my wife. Trying to become closer with my brothers. That's it. Never did it again. Stay away from that realm. So that's me.
I'm glad you listened, Bert.
Me too, man. Me too.
Even as a Muslim, I say, I'm not saying that your experience is going to be horrible if you play with it, but you're playing with something you don't understand.
That's exactly what I'm saying with meditation. That's exactly what I'm saying. 100%.
You got to know what you're doing. And first of all, I know they're waiting for me on that side. I talk about them. I educate the world about them. And would be foolish to go on their terrain with any knowledge whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And open myself up to be possessed by them, bro. Absolutely. Yeah. I cannot go in that world. And some of my friends are like big in that world, bro. Like one of my friends is like he's actually the first reality television star ever. And he was at a point in his life where he wanted to call it quits in this life, right? He went through the whole thing of Hollywood and stardom and women and having everything. He was on the first season of The Real World. And now he's very big into this ayahuasca tripping and ceremonial tribes. And I've had podcasts when people can watch him on my channel. I don't agree with it. I understand that not every interaction is bad because I do have enough knowledge to know that especially from our perspective, that the entire species of the devil is not all evil from the Islamic perspective. They also have free will. So the ones that hate us, they've declared war on us, they rebelled against heaven. Your interpretation on the Christian side is the fallen angels, right? That's more of the Christian narrative. They were angels that rebelled against God. In Islam, we do believe angels have free will, but not in the same capacity as human beings. It's like they don't have the same ability. Like they can't be as fooled by their desires as a human being can. So they do have free will, like they can question God and say things like that, but they don't generally disobey the creator from the Islamic perspective. There are different species made from light. We're made from the clay of the earth. And the jinn, or the demonic realm that we say in English, they're made from a smokeless fire. Some people think it's plasma or electricity or something like that. We don't know for certain, but we know that the description used in our scripture is a smokeless flame. We know that they can shapeshift. That's also in the Christian perspective. They can shapeshift. Satan can appear as a man, as a this, as a that. Or the reason why people put superstition around black cats and black dogs is not because if one crosses your path, that's superstition. Superstition is against Christianity and Islam. To be superstition is to give power to things that have no power over you. Like, I'm scared of the evil eye, so I hold an amulet. It's a blue eye. That's going to protect me. That's idolatry. If a black cat crosses my path, I'm giving power to a stupid cat instead of the creator of the universe. Just because a black cat crosses my path doesn't mean I'm going to have a bad day. But if you feed into that, the demonic realm might see, oh, they're scared of that. So they're going to go out of their way to make sure you have a bad day. So you believe in superstition instead of your creator. You got to understand how the enemy operates. They can see us. They can hear us. There are members of their race that follow us, that followed our grandparents when they were alive. When Christianity talks about the bottomless pit, or a day where like all the demons will be released on earth and people will see their dead family. And I believe the Antichrist, one of the theories is you might see your dead family, but it's not your dead family. It's a demon mimicking your great-grandfather, your grandmother.
Yeah.
And they can mimic them because they followed them while they were alive. They're going to have some of their memories. They know how to use their voice and tone perfectly. So
Yeah,
they're
called familiars. That's what they're called. They're
yeah, but it's not. So they're going to mix. Yeah, they're going to mix some of their memories that were real to deceive you that whatever's coming for us is God. Because look, he resurrected the dead. It has to be God. You will not be able to see this in flesh. Anything that tells you it's God while you're in flesh, as God says in Exodus 33, when Moses said to him, can I see you? I want to see your glory. And God said in Exodus 33, chapter 33, very important number, by the way.
Yeah.
For no one can see the face of God and live. We believe there will be some type of portal probably. God knows best. Only God has all knowledge. Only the Father knows, right? God, the creator, has all knowledge of the hour and exactly how it'll play out. We got some signs. We have some things to look out for. But one of the theories is that we will see our own dead family. Imagine, and from the Muslim perspective, the Antichrist is the greatest tribulation humanity ever faces, ever. Now imagine Noah of the ark, peace be upon him. You don't get on that boat, you're finished. You go to hell forever, you perish in the floods, you're done, right? Imagine all these tribulations, the people of Lot, Sodom and Gomorrah, Pompeii, all these horrible things that happened throughout history. And we're being told that what's coming for us is worse than what even the Israelites went under Pharaoh. And he was oppressing them brutally, right? He was killing their firstborn, right? When we study the life of Moses and Aaron, peace and blessings be upon both of them.
Yeah.
So it's like the greatest tribulation, the greatest trickery, the greatest sorcery, the greatest misguidance to all of humanity is coming for us right now. And the demonic realm, in my opinion, and again, please double check everything I say. Only God is perfect. I am human with human capabilities and limitations. Sometimes I can mix things up. So please forgive me, God, if I made a mistake here in delivering this message. I believe when the Antichrist appears, it will be the greatest deception, or aliens are coming. This is one of the tricks. It's either aliens, because one of my quotes that went viral is the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince the world he's an alien. What if the demonic realm is using the guise of aliens as a way to push their agenda into fooling all of humanity that they weren't created by God, but they were created by like people, like Billy Carson.
Yeah.
They hacked our DNA. Yeah, I believe in God, but they enslaved us to mine gold because they're so powerful in their technology that they really needed human beings to mine. They couldn't figure out how to create robots and all that. They can travel the universe in seconds and go all over the place, but they had to create human beings to dig out their gold. That sounds pretty stupid to me. I'm sorry. It just sounds pretty petty. They couldn't. They're about to create robots that can do this, and they couldn't. I mean, what else you want to know to debunk his entire empire of bullshit, which already got destroyed by Wes Huff?
I know. It's crazy.
Because if you're going to quote scriptures, know what you're quoting. So, as a Muslim, even though I called them out before Wes Huff, there's no one ever brought me on. But I salute Wes Huff. We may disagree on certain doctrines, but I will always have respect for Christians. They're the closest to me in faith. That's what my book commands me. And that's another thing that needs to be cleared for the record. They keep pushing this narrative in the news that Muslims view Christians as the infidel. No, that's not true. I will get publicly executed if I'm lying. Infidels, when mentioned in the Holy Quran, are only referring to the pagan Arabs that were attacking and trying to wipe out the first Muslims. The Christians have a very clear and protected class known as the people of the book, those that received revelation before the last testament, which we believe is the Quran. They are not they're not to be murdered. They're not to be invaded. Clear what people did, they did. What did the prophet teach us? That's what he taught us. He even had a covenant with the monks of his time. No one is to attack them. No one is to change their houses of worship. Omar al-Khattab, not the first, second king after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Same rules and regulations. Cannot attack the Christian. Oh, but that makes you pay. Bro, the amount of ignorance. Number one weapon they use, brother.
You have a weave. You have a weave like Donald Trump. You have the same type of weave where it's like, we're here.
It's just too much. It's so much shit, man. It's the bottom line is what I want to say with all this. Ignorance is the enemy. It's how they control us. It's how they make us fear each other. It's how they make us hate each other so they can keep doing what they're doing to all of us. Now, the demonic realm.
Yeah.
That's what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is an episode all in itself, really. I mean, it's really completely like a whole lecture on its own.
I do think the aliens are, I think it's very possible. The universe is very vast. So I can't just be like, in all my wisdom of 39 years, I know how everything works. So I could say that I could understand how there could be some civilization that could travel and go all around, and maybe they come here. I can understand that. But I think at some point we lost the language in describing these things. At some point we turned to UFO. We turned to very medical, sterile language at some point, but before we used to just call what I'm seeing with a lot of these UFOs and UAPs, we used to classify that as demons. That's what we used to call that type of thing. Something that would manifest out of nowhere, blip into existence. There's people in Brazil who have had encounters, a man who actually held one. The hospital that he went in, they said it smelled terrible for weeks. They couldn't get the smell out, this sulfur type of smell. So it's like you hear these type of things in scripture, and then you hear it in today's language, and they talk about UFOs. I think at some point we just maybe it's not just us that we lost it and being a little charitable. I think somebody threw us off that path of looking at this thing as something spiritual, but it seems spiritual. Like, have you heard about the people who are currently trying to summon UFOs in seances? So they're doing seances like you would in the occult, like Aleister Crowley did, to contact demons, and they're claiming
he never called them aliens, bro. And his drawing is the first drawing of anything like an alien.
Yeah.
Lam.
Yeah.
His drawing of Lam, which he was studying black magic and doing rituals in the Great Pyramid of Giza, who's the most hated human being on earth was Pharaoh, who we know practiced black magic, who worshipped, in my opinion, demonic entities that they turned into Egyptian gods.
There you go.
And it's a very easy correlation, bro. Like, very easy to make those two connections. You have a guy that impacted almost every branch of Hollywood and arts and music and technology. Jack Parsons, the recent, rockets went up, I'm still debating the whole firmament, man. I don't think human beings. I know we never went to the moon. That's a fact. Okay, undeniable fact.
But for people who don't know who Jack Parsons is, Jack Parsons, I've talked about him on the show before.
Father of modern rocketry.
They call him the godfather of rocketry. He had no experience towards rocketry or any technology like that. He was friends with Aleister Crowley as well as L. Ron Hubbard. I think that's how you say his name. The Scientology guy. Yeah.
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney. Who? Jack Parsons?
Disney was boys with all of them. They were all boys.
Wow. I didn't know that. So they were all
them, bro. It's magical.
I never thought of that. But they were all friends, and Aleister Crowley and Jack Parsons were very close, as well as Ron. And he was doing some kind of rituals
all the time.
And in my opinion, and this is maybe where a lot of people don't talk about it, I think he was getting this information from this unseen realm, this occult realm, and that's how he was able to build these rockets. Because otherwise, he had no experience.
He says he had a vision. Jack Parsons had a vision that an entity came to him named Belial Dajjal. Dajjal is literally the Arabic word for Antichrist.
Really?
This is in his words.
Huh.
Not me putting them in there. This is in his tradition, his history. I was contacted by Belial Dajjal. Dajjal is the Arabic word for Antichrist. And he said that this being told him, you're very important for my work. I'm going to show you how. And through that vision is how he invented the fuel for us to go to space.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
He actually
now, what are the odds that this guy who is openly in the occult, openly doing black magic, openly doing rituals, says he has a vision where an entity, nothing other than a demon, showed him, just like the devil showed humanity how to make music.
And work with metal.
So what's the lesson there?
Yeah.
The devil shapeshifted and taught humanity how to play instruments. The weekend started from that point on. So that means that there's been this clash between our two species. It's been going on since day one, since the devil declared war on the children of Adam. And he's done a phenomenal job to even make groups of them judge people based on their skin color. And
you know who else was having these same type of visions that people don't really talk about, and if they do, they talk about them in a higher regard, is Nikola Tesla. Tesla was doing the same type of thing. We never frame him as an occultist, but he was doing the same thing. He said he would get into these trance-like states and be given these downloads.
Downloads, bro. They call them downloads. I call them demonic transferences of knowledge. Their species was on Earth long before us. They built cities. One theory I've had could also be maybe they built these civilizations that we can't explain. And then when God cast Adam down, again, I don't know. This is a theory. So all glory belongs to God, and may He have mercy on my soul if I'm wrong. But maybe the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. Some of the archaeologists believe they built all the shitty ones that are not perfectly cosmically aligned.
Yes.
All the ones that are around the Great Pyramids. Maybe these structures that we can't explain how they moved the stone and this and that and how is it perfectly carved and all this stuff was because before Adam was cast down from the heavens, God locked them into a different dimension on the same earth. So they're living in the same time, parallel to us on the earth. And that's what's going on. Maybe they built these structures and then we inhabited the earth and we found these structures. I'm not saying that's 100% the truth, but it's a very interesting theory I've started to talk about publicly.
Yeah, you should.
Otherwise, it was through the art of black magic. Pharaoh did black magic, and that's how they got some of this knowledge, because we learn, even in the Quran, it mentions black magic, and they learned in Babylon that which they should not have learned. They sold their souls for knowledge, because God sent 2 angels down to test the Israelites during the time of Babylon. Harut and Marut. And it said they learned not what would profit them, but what would basically they would lose their soul. They would get knowledge, but they would lose their soul. And a lot of this witchcraft occurred during the time of Solomon. And this is another place where Christianity and Islam break. From the Christian perspective, they believe that Solomon actually fell into witchcraft and did all that shit. We don't believe that. The prophets of God did not make catastrophic errors. They might have made errors from their humanness, but not something that would take them out of faith completely. To perform in black magic or witchcraft is you're done. You're finished. Your soul is done.
Mhm.
But we know that they had the ability to learn that which separates man from wife. So
Who had that ability? You're saying Solomon?
the time of Babylon. No, not Solomon. We don't believe Solomon committed witchcraft. Christian perspective does.
Well, he just had control over demons, right? The
But
demon
he
realm.
had the power. Like I said earlier, what did I say in the beginning of the episode? Every prophet was given a gift.
Yeah.
We believe Solomon was given the power to control this dimension and their dimension.
Mm.
He had rule over both dimensions. And we learn a lot about the demonic realm from him. Because they would boast, oh, I can bring this back to you in a millisecond. I can basically teleport. In a millisecond. Yeah. So we learn. So from the Islamic perspective, we know the demons come in different shapes and forms. We don't call them demons. We call them jinn. They're a different species.
Mhm.
A lot of what they classify with aliens is the powers that we've already said they've had for thousands of years. The ability to whisper into the soul of humanity. I don't know why these thoughts. And the more polluted you are with drugs and alcohol and disconnected and following the lustful acts of a human, the further you're cut off from source, and you don't reset and you don't cleanse. And now you become a vessel for the demonic realm. Spirit cooking type. Do a little spirit cooking. We're going to make a nice cake look like a human being.
Yeah.
Because that's how the devil gets you. The devil don't get you to do the final act right away. He gets you slow.
Yeah.
He takes you away from God slowly. Not right away. Adultery doesn't begin with the final act. It begins with what? Looking. Then talking. Then laughing. Ha ha ha. Then, hey, you want to get a drink? Then, hey, let's have dinner. Hey, I'm going to rent this hotel. You want to come hang out? We're just going to hang out. Oh, we'll have a little coffee. Next thing you know, you're both pants off and you just committed an act that destroys your soul. Physical act feels great. Feels amazing. People go, why you believe in God? I'm like, look at the way he designed the man, man. It's funny. He gives them a stick that gets them in a lot of trouble, bro. A lot of trouble. Physical pleasure, but a lot of harmful situations that occur to the psyche, humanity. Look at the world we live in because of lust, bro. Look at it.
I know.
Tell me that lust has not destroyed this country. Tell me it hasn't destroyed the world.
What?
Tell me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell me as a Christian that lust has not destroyed all of us.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now, as a younger man, I didn't think like that. Oh, what's the big deal? No, it's a big deal, man. It really is a big deal. Like, I am ashamed of my past, bro.
Yeah.
As a young man. It's disgusting.
Crazy.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Do you fall in love and you have that real bond and you understand how things work? And then you understand why we have these rules and what it's not just about me or you, it's about the greater good of humanity. Just because they make something legal doesn't mean it's good for us as a species. Oh, but it's legal. That doesn't mean it's good for us. And I promise you, they didn't legalize weed lately just out of the blue. They did it because we're waking up. We're becoming smart, so now they want us to be stupid. This weed is weaponized, man. The THC levels are ridiculous.
Yeah, that was my main thing. That when I got sober, that was the main thing that was just haunting me.
Psychosis.
Yeah, it's like it takes away drive. It takes away everything you're supposed to have as a man. In my opinion, it just flatlines it right away. And none of this happens if I'm smoking. None of this. Learning how to use cameras, computers, do interviews, talk with people. None of this happens. Doing stand-up comedy. None of it happens if I'm smoking weed. It all stops right away. It's crazy. It's crazy. Has such a hold on me.
I don't care what anyone says. All my friends that have smoked a lot, it destroyed all their life. It took away their ambition. It turned them into fat, lazy people. I don't give a shit. Listen, is there a few people out there that can have a puff here and there and it doesn't destroy their life? Yeah, I get it, man. But so many people, they abuse it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
They just abuse it. Just all day. They wake up, they spark a joint. All day, smoke, all night, nonstop. That's their life. I know people that have lost decades of their life. I swear to God, with my own eyes.
Up in smoke. Yeah, man.
Up in smoke on a couch, fast food being ordered on Uber Eats, laid on a couch their entire 30s, bro.
Yeah. I was there. My whole 20s was just that. From the time I was 12 to like, I only quit 3 years ago. So I was like 36 when I quit. But, I started pulling myself out of it around 30, but
look how far you've come, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, look at you got more followers than I do on YouTube, brother. I've been doing this for 6 years.
Yeah.
So
It
look at how
it's
far you've come, bro.
yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts what it can do to you. They
Anything done to the extreme is harmful. Even religion to the extreme is harmful for the human being.
You know, I actually the last time I smoked, funny enough, I'm in this suburb where there is just pigeons. I am not even pigeons. There's like sparrows and stuff. There's no animals. There's just a little squirrel here and there. There's no animals. I smoke weed. I just started getting into Christ. I just started reading the Bible and everything. And I decide I'm gonna smoke because I haven't smoked in a while. It was the last time I smoked. And I'm smoking weed. I'm walking down the street and I see in the middle of the street a vulture ripping apart a rabbit. Like two things that are just not in this neighborhood at all, ever. It was the weirdest thing. I thought I was hallucinating. That's how weird it was. It doesn't happen. It's like seeing that in the middle of a busy New York street. It's like, how did either of these things get here? And it's ripping this thing apart. And then I start looking into what it means biblically. I'm like, let me just look into it a little bit. I just search up this vultures are sometimes people think they're good omens, but one thing that popped up when I searched it just happened to pop up is when you get further away from Christ, you'll see these things. And I was like, oh, I'm getting like, cause I'm high. I'm getting high. I'm not doing the sober thing and being with my wife. I'm getting high. I was like, damn, that happened fast. I'm like, this is how fast you can move away from God. I'm like, oh, man. So I put it out, threw it away, and that was literally the last time I smoked weed. It was crazy. It was nuts. I just got this omen right in front of me so quickly.
Yeah, brother. I mean, it's real. And the only way, if you're not witnessing these things in your life, it's probably because you're beyond the point of salvation. Like you just completely shut down spiritually. You're not looking anywhere. Like all your radars that God instilled in you are off. You can't see it. So even if these phenomenons happen to people that are spiritually just decaying, they don't see it. Even, and then sometimes you could show them and they can see it and they still don't care. That's when their hearts become spiritually hard, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when the people of Christ, peace be upon him, during his time, when he says in John 15 and John 16, if I had not done the works that no man had seen, there'd be no sin upon them. But they had both seen and still don't believe in me. Like I did all these miracles, but their hearts were that
Yeah.
rock hard that they couldn't accept Christ. And if they would have accepted Christ, based on our perspective, there would have only been one religion, brother. There wouldn't have been three. It's because they didn't accept John the Baptist. They chopped his head off.
Yeah.
We all know what they tried to do. You guys believe they did to him. And there's the division of the three faiths. That's from our perspective. So we should have all been one, but it was because of that treachery, and Christ is that peace.
Mhm.
It's from him the three split, not because of him, but because of those that he was sent to.
It's very interesting because when you say that, when you're talking about the three and the split, it's almost like in this earthly realm that there's a holy trinity there, and then
It's
within
an unholy
him,
because look, they're killing each other.
within him, there's all well, if they come together as one, that's a holy trinity, right? And we should come together as people. But then in the spirit realm, they also believe that there's a holy trinity. I just found that interesting. You're talking about these three that are split that should be one. And then also the Holy Trinity is three that are split, but are also
Children of Adam should be under the same umbrella.
man.
Now,
Hey, tell me more about the jinn having the same characteristics as UFOs, because I don't know anything about jinn.
So we believe that there's some of them that can fly.
Okay.
We know that the devil used to be able to travel up to the heavens. How was he doing it? Why was he living amongst the angels? Because he was the best of us. So he was allowed to be amongst the angels. So we also know that God says in the Quran that he protects the canopy, that until the prophet came, they used to try to fly up and steal knowledge from the heavens. Eavesdrop, basically. And when you see shooting stars, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, from the Muslim perspective, that's literally God and the angels defending the heavens. That maybe it's not as far up as we think it is. I mean, I don't know if there's a firmament, but there's definitely some of that could possibly be found in the Quran. When you look at it, I made the canopy a protective protective. Like basically, we can't go through it. So I don't know. Do I think we live in a flat Earth?
What is
My
wait,
gut still tells me.
hold on. What does the Quran say? The Quran says a canopy?
Let me see if I could pull up the verse, brother. Again, we're doing this in real time. None of this is scripted. They don't know about Coach Collins, bro. The firmament.
But that's like because you guys like I know Christianity has.
It says in the Quran, the word firmament doesn't directly appear, but the concept of the heavens as a samawat and the structure above the earth is mentioned many times. The Arabic term uses asama, meaning sky or heaven, not the English firmament. In classical Arabic and as early Islamic cosmology, asama can mean the visible sky, the realm above the earth, layers of the heaven. Key verses about the heavens and firmament. 7 heavens created in layers. It is he who created for you all that is on the earth. Then he directed himself to the heaven and made them 7 heavens. That's chapter 229 of the Quran. So he completed them as 7 heavens in 2 days and inspired each heaven its command. That's Surah Fusiliyat 41 verse.
Very interesting.
Heaven as a protective canopy, and we made the sky a protected ceiling, but they turn away from its signs. Surah Al-Anbiya 21 verse 32.
Very interesting. I don't know any. Thank you for that. I don't know anything about the Quran, quite honestly. But yeah, that's very interesting. You know, there's certain ways to look at it. It's like that could just be straight up literal, right? Canopy
or philosophical.
It could also talk about they say we are in the 3rd dimension where things are hard, physical, and then there's a 4th dimension where we would also refer that to, we would talk about that as heaven, where things are love and light. Like you said, the angels are made of light. That's where the light being goes. That's where this training ground, if you do what you're supposed to do and don't give in to all of these forces that are around us, your body, your soul will go to that place and be there. So it could be referring to that because, very much in this physical realm, there is a ceiling. If you talk about this place where we're at, Earth to heaven, there definitely is a ceiling that you cannot break through as a physical human being. You're not allowed to go through it. You can't force that process.
I really don't think we have, man. I think we've gotten satellites into orbit. I don't think we've penetrated completely through the canopies that God's placed over the earth, these atmospheric levels. I just don't see, like, especially in the 60s, like it's crazy. But like I don't see how.
I'm saying
I can't get cell phone service.
I'm saying that the canopy would be you trying to, let's just say you right now trying to fly to heaven.
No,
you
impossible.
do not get to do that. Like
and
that could be the canopy that they're referring to. You do not get to do that. You don't get to force that as a physical human being. Yeah. You go through the process, you pass away, and then all of a sudden you do that. Because recently I had a conversation with a hospice nurse, and she was, hospice is when someone's about to pass away.
Yeah, someone's dying. Final care.
Yeah, exactly. And she was talking about the visioning that they all have, the visions that they see. They see their past loved ones. They see pets. Like right now, my wife has a grandmother that's going to be within that. And she's reporting, she's like seeing pets, old cats that she used to have. So she's like, the veil's getting very thin. You know what I mean?
You just used the perfect word, the veil.
Yes. The veil's getting very thin. So in this hospice a nurse, she used the same term. She's like, the veil gets very, very thin and they end up being able to see people. And there's a phenomenon that they talk about called the death reach, where they reach up, like they can see the heavens. So that whole canopy that you're referring to, that could be like a veil. That veil gets thin, so and all of a sudden you have access. You can see the loved ones. You can see the people who are up there waiting for you, and they come down and they usher you into that space.
We believe that human beings don't have a veil on their eyes until they speak their first word. We believe that babies can see things that we can't because the veil's not on their eyes yet. We believe animals can see what we can't see from the Muslim perspective. We know, like, if you hear a dog or a donkey screaming like crazy at nighttime, the Prophet advised us to recite God's words because they probably saw a devil. So
Mm.
I don't own a pet because you're not allowed to have a dog in your home because it's a place of worship, and there's certain bacteria that gets into their saliva that can, and you can research this. I'm not making this up. So we're allowed to have dogs, but as like for certain purposes and not necessarily where we worship God.
Not in the house, not in your bed, licking your mouth and all that stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But ask people that own pets. They've said my cat bugged out for no reason. My dog just went freaking it went because it's seeing what you can't see with your human
Yeah.
eyes. It doesn't have the same veil. You use the correct terminology. It is a veil. And it's funny because even a lot of these people that are getting wiped out in the Middle East, right? They're all dying with smiles on their faces, bro. It's insane. Like you can literally look at pictures of these people. It's crazy. Like they're literally how are they all dying smiling? Exposed
Everybody
smile on their face, bro.
everybody, like, she talks about it. Like, there's always, like, different cases, but for the most part, everybody from the first person she's seen thousands of these people pass away. Everybody, this tremendous amount of peace comes over them. Tremendous amount of peace. Peace like you've never seen in a regular walking, heart beating, healthy person. This peace comes over them right away. And a lot of times it's smile, a lot of times it's just like a face of comfort, like you're completely just comfortable with what's going on. And it's really changed my perspective on the afterlife. I really do think, like it's deepened my faith a lot, looking at my own mortality and facing that through those conversations, because I fully believe that it doesn't end here. It doesn't end with you and Katy Perry and rappers and all this stuff. It doesn't end with you just being like looking up to them and you pass away. It doesn't end there. Like there's so much more after we pass away. So much more, I think.
Yeah, brother. I mean, there's definitely so much more than meets the eye, as they say. And, this is, like I said, these are things that people that have spirituality in their hearts, like these are the things that, we can all agree on. Really, the differences are they major in as far as salvation? Yes. I've never denied that publicly. I never will. I'm not an idiot. I understand that the risk I take as a Muslim, if I'm wrong and I don't believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, I'm going to pay a heavy price based on Christian doctrine. I understand the risks. Same thing that we say, like if you associate with God, that has nothing the right to be associated with except the creator himself. There's a price to pay for that. But what about all the other stuff? None of our faiths teach us to oppress people. We're not supposed to. That's not what Jesus taught. Okay? If someone's saying they're a Muslim and they persecute a Coptic person, you're not following Islam. You're in direct violation of the faith. And the problem is that people that have this message like I do, they get suppressed. When I'm not preaching hatred. I'm preaching like we have a lot more in common than we don't.
Definitely.
Every denomination has fought and killed each other. But what else do we have in common? The demonic realm, the devil, the way they operate, the way human beings have sold out our species for them. How you not going to talk about Bohemian Grove? You think that's normal? 65, 70-year-old grown-ass men. It's a real video, bro. It's a real video.
It's more than a video. There's a lot of like, people people go towards the video a lot, but you can look up a lot of not footage, but there's a lot of pictures. There's also a map that was released of everything that they do. They have trainways that they use. There's like a whole breakdown to it. There's a lot of you know what a burlesque show is? You know, the whole can like dun, 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 they're kicking up their legs or whatever. There's like a whole line of dudes doing that. Like there's a lot of it's way past just what we saw in that one video. It's very much like there's a lot of ritual. You know what it's like? It's like the old person, or maybe you'll say super elite version of Burning Man. That's what it's
even
like.
even that I promise you has demonic intentions.
Yeah.
But
did you hear about what happened?
What are you burning when you burn man? When does a man burn from spiritual perspective? When he's made into the hellfire. Right?
This year, as soon as they burned at the exact same time they were burning somebody was found past pool of their own blood, just gone.
Yeah, murder.
Crazy stuff going on there. I'm actually working on an episode because RFK's former running mate. I forget what her name is, but she ended up coming out. She was someone who's gone to Burning Man like 8 different times throughout the years, and she's now talking about, now that she kind of sees the light, she's like saying how demonic it all is.
It
So
is.
she's like giving a whole breakdown of what it is, and I'm
It's
gonna
the
do an
new
episode on it soon.
it's the new 60s, bro.
Yeah, that's
The
exactly, yeah.
60s, when we trace back how we got to where we are right now, it wasn't hip hop. Those that want to blame African Americans and blame hip hop, no, this started during the rock and roll revolution.
Bro, I always tell people about that, the whole Laurel
That's what started.
Canyon
This shit
thing.
didn't start with black people because of black people, all you idiots thinking hip hop. What led to hip hop was the debauchery of rock and roll. That
Yeah,
debauchery.
yeah, people don't realize,
Okay?
like,
And the
Laurel
60s and the sexual revolution and women basically becoming naked. And
that
I'm wearing my underwear and my bra when I go to the beach, but it's called a bikini. It's the same embarrassment I should have. I would never leave my house like that. But they've convinced me that I should be using everything I have to make men stare at me
you
and want
know,
me and give me a false sense of confidence, while all that's happening to me is I'm being used over and over and over again. But now I'm free. Free from
well,
what?
you know where that started, right? The whole rock and roll thing. It started from Laurel Canyon. Do you know about Laurel Canyon?
In LA.
No, Laurel. Well, is it in
Isn't
LA?
it called Laurel?
I know it's in. I think it's in California. I'm pretty sure. Laurel Canyon.
Isn't that by hang on a second. Let me, because I got
It,
some
it
backup here.
if you look into Laurel Canyon, there's a cool book. It's called Weird Scenes from Laurel Canyon. I actually have it. I've been reading it, and when you look
Yeah,
into
it's
it,
in LA, brother. That's
the
what I
the
said.
the anti-war movement
In the hills.
was on the rise. Okay, and as the anti-war movement was coming
60s,
up,
70s, Jim Morrison, Johnny Mitchell, Frank Zappa, David Cosby, all these guys. Yeah, brother. They were all into this.
now, no, it's not just that they were into it. They all had intelligence connections through their family. So all of these mega talented people had these connections to intelligence. So the same way that you look at hip hop and you can see that hip hop was engineered, that
And
same thing was happening with rock and roll. And they took the anti-war movement and it went from dudes who looked like Jordan Peterson with glasses and they were clean cut saying, we don't want this war,
we don't need to be enemies.
to dirty hippies. They changed it into the long-haired, pot-smoking hippie, and that's what the anti-war movement became known for. And then the public didn't want to be associated with those people. There was all sorts of campaigns throughout media talking about dirty hippies and what they do and this and that. And then nobody who was a regular person from the general population wanted to be associated with that anymore. So then they became in favor of the war. And that's part of, like, Laurel Canyon has a big and it's not just those people that you mentioned. Charles Manson was also around
Yep.
there too. There's
Yep.
a bunch of people. So it's very
Yep.
interesting. And
Big one.
and the thing is, it never stopped. It just moved on to hip hop because that's where the ears were before. That's where the false idols were before. But as soon as it was able to be done in hip hop, they just went there. They're like, okay, the youth is going to listen to this. They went there. And that's why you see hip hop now. Now you see a lot of the younger people, they are claiming that they're rock stars and they're doing the same thing as the rock stars were doing before, except now the satanic symbolism, they're very upfront with it in hip
Yeah,
hop.
they don't even hide it, bro. They don't even hide it at
They
all.
don't hide it at all anymore. Rock and
Tattoos,
roll, back
G,
in
videos.
the rock and roll days, they would just do the symbol with the fingers. And they would just say that meant rock and roll. Now they're just outright saying that they're demons on demon time. Like they're just straight up outright with it, you know? But yeah, Laurel Canyon, it's a weird thing to look into, man. It never stopped. It never stopped. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Do you know anything about Azazel?
I keep hearing that name being thrown around lately. The demon name.
I wanted to know
Not
if
expert on that one.
okay, I wanted to know if Islam,
And I hate mentioning their names too.
true.
Ilahi min shaitan rajim.
We'll
Go ahead.
we'll call him A. But he
I gotta have a hard stop in like 5, brother.
okay,
Then
that's no
next
problem.
time we can also do another one.
We should.
But I gotta go get my kids to school.
Really?
Yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
3:30.
Crazy because I'm gonna
Well,
cut it
about
out
40 minutes.
so nobody knows, but this guy had a lot of malfunctions. It was wild. But it's all good. It's all good though. But yeah, I just wanted to know about. I just wanted to know if Islam had any perspective on him. I've been like you. I've been hearing that name a lot, and I just want to know a little bit about him. But I
I haven't
guess
dug deep into that, that exact name
yeah.
or deity or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
But like I said, the only thing I know from the Muslim perspective is that the devil has a kingdom. He has armies that are dedicated to certain types of deadly sins like murder, adultery, divorce, one of his favorite. Even though you're allowed to get divorced in Islam, but it's the least favorite thing. The quote is, out of all the things that God made permissible that he hates, it's divorce. He hates the most, but you're allowed, of course, under certain circumstances, like if adultery is committed or you're being treated extremely poorly, because you have rights, on the contrary of what the media poses about women and the faith of Islam. Now, people want to look at what cultures might do and say that, well, that's what the faith teaches them. No, they need to learn how to separate, you know, this is what the religion teaches, this is what their culture is used to. You know what I'm saying? Like there's two different things there, but people want to make them, the same. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, this is your YouTube channel because I know you gotta be out of here soon. I just wanted to make sure people saw this. What else you got going on here? Let me see. You got the Discord, you got the TikTok, you got the X. You said you're not big on X yet. Let's pull
starting to use it
X.
more, man. It's just I still don't get the damn app, man. It's weird, you know.
You don't get it? It's basically
I
I
just
don't
write
know.
stuff. I mean, if it
I
goes
don't
out,
know.
it goes out. You know?
Yeah, I don't know how much there is to get. It's
I like to go on
the
spaces once in a while. You know.
yeah, the spaces, I think the spaces are pretty good. But let's jump over to the YouTube. This is the YouTube channel, guys. Definitely check that out. And what do you see for yourself in the near future in this whole thing? You gonna keep podcasting, interviews? Are you writing a book? You seem like a guy that has a book in you.
Yeah, I have a couple actually, man. So life is very challenging, my brother. And there's things that go on in our personal lives sometimes that affect us, and
Of course.
sometimes, someone passes away or something, changes dramatically in our lives. The last 5 years have been very dramatic for me. I've been through a lot of different things and struggles and you name it. Um, yes, I was hosting a lot of guests, but then what happened was I started becoming, very high demand on shows. People just want me on. I've done shows with Godfrey, the comic. I've been all over the place. So and here we are today. You're in the top percentile, brother. A couple 100,000. That's not easy to do, my man. So you're on the right path. You're doing great work. I like that. I feel like you are very open minded, and I feel that you are, at least trying to give people a chance to kind of say what they really think. Like I said, you can see a clip of someone until you ate a whole bag of salt with someone, you don't know who they are.
I
Even
like
if
that
there's
expression.
something you don't like, what was the context? It's very easy to clip someone and make them look like an or evil or whatever. I
You,
really
you,
would love to write. I've actually, it's on my list. It's literally on my list. And brother, yes, God willing, there's going to be a book in the future. And I'm glad you brought it up, but I don't know how long it'll take. It's when God allows it to happen. So,
and what are you doing with your videos? How many times do you post? What are you doing? Do you have a
so
schedule? What do you do?
I need to get back on track with that. Been in so many shows lately that like I've kind of neglected my channel a little bit. So I'm sorry to my audience and I love you guys and I've explained this to you. I'm gonna get that back on track. I miss doing what you're doing, interviewing people. Like that's why I started podcasting. I really want to get back to that.
Yeah.
And I am collaborating with a young man named Sunny Foz. We're doing reaction videos every day on his channel. And
Sunny Phase or
Sunny
Foz?
Foz, he's good friends with Sneeko and people like that. And it's been an awesome run with him. He's helped me grow exponentially. He's got 600,000 plus subs, and it's called Unk Reacts. So it's the crazy Bek talking about life. And he pulls up different things around the world and we react to what's going on. And I give the older generation view. He gives the younger generation. And
That's sick. That's
somewhat
I like that.
it's somewhat faith-based because we do both believe in God.
Yeah, yeah,
Trying to
yeah.
watch cursing now because I do curse a lot. It's the New Yorker in me. I'm not perfect.
Yeah,
May God have
yeah.
mercy on my soul. Forgive me for cursing.
That was one of the things.
I
Luckily,
use it for emphasis, man. I use it for emphasis.
yeah, my faith
It's
drew
not the
me.
right thing, you know.
My faith drew me away from swearing. I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm working on it. We all have our, weaknesses. I'm glad I got rid of the big demons,
Yeah,
partying,
exactly.
women, drinking, these things. Those were hard enough to get rid of. and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You've been down
Of
them
course.
paths a little bit.
Yeah.
So now I just hope God gives me a little grace. I'm working on my tongue. I told Sonya, I said, start bleeping the out. I said, bleep. So the last couple episodes I'm like, if I can't control it, I don't want it broadcasted out there. Like, cut the damn language out, you know?
I'm gonna do that. Don't worry, don't worry. You're good there. But I'm gonna end this, but don't go. Don't go. Stay here with me. End it for the audience, guys. This was Bek Lover, one of the most outspoken guests we've had so far. And I can't wait, because when I do interviews like this, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be on Joe Rogan one day. So I'm like, I got him first. That's good. Good. I like that. Because
It's
I
crazy.
love Joe. I love Joe.
They all follow, man. I don't know what's that. He doesn't follow me, but I don't know how I haven't been on PDD yet, bro. Like, it's crazy to me. Even Vinny follows me. It's like, bro, what are we waiting for? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you got to reach out, but you know, you never know. Everything happens on God's time, not our time.
I'd like to give some flowers to the Lone Ranger, I believe his name is. I believe he's a very devout Christian. He has a huge following. He had me on the show. What a gentleman. So, like, I love this, like, just this respect, you know, back and forth. Again, I know some clips out of context, so please, Christians, understand why. It's literally responding to show hypocrisy. Like, hey, you're attacking this way. Let me show you why you really shouldn't do that. And I don't want to disrespect anybody. That's not my mission. So,
Of course,
we're human. We have our human flaws. Sometimes emotion gets the best of us. And if I've ever offended anyone, I hope that they can forgive me. And I'm going to keep it positive, man. I'm going to keep trying to do my best and realign with why I really started doing all this stuff. So I really appreciate you, Coach Colin. And I wish you the best of luck. And I hope we do it again sometime, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
And we'll stick to one subject. Instead of trying to squeeze it all into one, we could do one subject at a time and make it more clear and fair. And
yeah, if you ever have anything else going on that you wanna talk about, or even another theory you want to talk about, or subject, whatever, let me know. And yeah, we can definitely do this again. Guys, this was Bek Lover, and we are out. Peace.